Chapter 152. Everyone stared right at Sue, E, and Steele on the steps, not making a single sound. They were afraid that they would miss a single word of Sue Yi's answer. Sue Yi was a bit surprised. He never thought that the first question would be aimed at him and Steele. It wasn't related to the automatic magic rice cooker at all. Although this matter is related to me and Steele's privacy, since you're asking this in front of all these people and I've already agreed to answer, then I'll answer you. Sue Yi reached out his left hand and tightly grabbed Steele's right hand. Then he raised it high up and said in a loud voice, "Yes, I'm very happy and lucky to announce to everyone that Steele and I are indeed the closest lovers." The crowd fell into a deathly silence, but after a while, there was a burst of noise. "God, it's actually true. My goddess is actually in love with another man. I don't believe it. No, this can't be true. My eyes must be wrong. I must have heard wrong. Young Miss Steele is as noble and elegant as a goddess. How could she be in love with a man? This must be fake. AI, if it was any other man, I definitely wouldn't accept it, but it's Chairman Sue, I can still barely accept it. That's right. In Banta City, or rather in the entire Lampari Kingdom, there shouldn't be a man more outstanding than Chairman Sue, right? He's already the chairman of a large company at such a young age, and I've heard that he's also a powerful magician. Other than not being a noble, he's simply perfect. Che, what's so good about being a noble? It's because Chairman Sue is a commoner that it's good. This means that beautiful girls don't just want to marry nobles. Young Miss Steele, I support you marrying Chairman Sue. Right, I also support you. Marrying Chairman Sue is better than marrying those useless, noble young masters. That's right. I support young Miss Steele's choice. I support Chairman Sue. Sue, he could not help but feel a little embarrassed when he heard the voices of support from below, and there were even voices of support for Steele to marry him. He turned his head to look at Steele, only to see that she had a bright smile on her face, and her beautiful face was filled with confidence and pride. Sensing Sue Yi's gaze, Steele turned to look at him with a hint of pride in his eyes. "How is it? Sue Yi, I have good taste, don't I? Look, everyone is supporting us." Sue Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Come on, it's because I'm outstanding enough. If it were someone else, do you believe that they would be torn to pieces by the angry crowd?" Steele's smile became even brighter. "Although I'm very happy that you're so outstanding that so many people acknowledge you. My liking you has nothing to do with what they say about being outstanding. Rather, it's because I like you." Sue Yi revealed a smile and tightened his grip on Steele's hand. He turned to the crowd at the bottom of the stairs and shouted, "Thank you for everyone's support and blessings from me and Steele. But I ask everyone to pay attention. This is our new Flyers product announcement, so I hope that everyone won't ask questions unrelated to our new Flyers products." The Saltan Morning News reporters who hadn't had a chance to speak looked at each other and nodded. One of the older reporters raised his hand and loudly asked, "Then Chairman Sue, I have a question. In the past month, whether it is Banta City, or Saltan City, or even Karma City, or some other cities in the kingdom, there have been many magic machine companies that have appeared. What do you think about this?" These reporters are quite professional. Sue Yi praised in his heart before replying with a faint smile. "I've also understood a bit about the situation you mentioned. My view on this is that I'm very happy and can even be considered very gratified." Everyone at the bottom of the stairs was stunned. The reporter kept asking with knit brows, "Chairman Sue, I'm afraid you don't mean this. With all these companies competing with your new flyer, it will only affect the sales of your new Flyers products, so why are you happy and gratified?" The reason why I'm happy and gratified is because other than our new flyer, there are finally other companies that have begun researching magic machines and producing magic machines. This means that everyone is finally paying attention to magic machines. Once everyone places importance on this, it means that this industry will quickly develop and our Frestec Chamber of Commerce's products will be easily accepted by everyone, which means that our company can earn more money. Tell me, as the chairman, why wouldn't I be happy? Sue Yi replied with a smile. Could it be that you're not worried that competition will affect sales? The reporter asked again. After all, there are only so many people, and as long as a single person buys a magic machine from another company, your new flyer will have one less customer. No, no, no. I think that your understanding of customers and the market is too shallow. He shook his head without any politeness. Actually, to me, there should be countless times more people buying magic machines, and the market for this industry should be countless times bigger than it is now. If the market was a slice of cake, then what I wanted to do was to try my best to make this slice of cake bigger and bigger. Then, the people in chambers of commerce who wanted to share this slice of cake will be able to get a bigger slice of it. I didn't want everyone to grab a small slice of the cake and end up starving everyone to death. Moreover, I firmly believe that the cake of magic machines is very, very big. Not only can it fill our new flyer, it can also fill the stomachs of other companies. So for the other companies that are starting to develop magic machines, I sincerely welcome them. Chairman Sue, I've heard that there are several companies in our Karma City that have bought several production lines for the magic fan and the magic rice cooker from your new flyer. Is this true? The Karma Times Vice Editor-in-Chief Ryan seized this opportunity to ask in a loud voice. Sue looked at him and found that he had some impression of this person. It seemed like he had appeared at the opening ceremony of the new flyer's Karma City production base. Yes, specifically, there are 3 Karma City companies that have come to buy production lines. Just half a month ago, the production lines of these 3 companies have officially been put into use. I think that if you return to Karma City now, you might be able to see the magic rice cooker and magic fan other than our Shinfei brand. Sue said. But Chairman Sue, you shouldn't have transferred the technology related to the automatic magic rice cooker to them, right? Ryan pointed at the automatic magic rice cooker that was already releasing white smoke as he asked this. Sue revealed a faint smile. I welcome the other companies to enter this industry, and I can give them the most basic support, but that doesn't mean that I will hand over all the research results of New Flyer. This automatic magic rice cooker is our New Flyer's newest research result, and it also represents our New Flyer's current leading position. As for the other people or companies that want to catch up to our New Flyer, all right, please show your sincerity. Seeing Sue Yi's aggressive appearance, the people under the stairs couldn't say a word. Ryan couldn't help giving a bitter laugh. Sue was telling the truth. New Flyer's current achievements came from their own hard work. Other people and companies didn't have the right to ask them to hand over their achievement for free. If they wanted to enter this industry and catch up to New Flyer, other than bowing their heads to New Flyer and obtaining some technical support from them, they could only rely on their own hard work. Of course, there was a method that was completely different from this. Ryan's heart skipped a beat, and when he wanted to ask something, he heard a soft ding sound. Looking over in surprise, he saw that the red light in the automatic magic rice cooker had suddenly extinguished. The switch that Sue had just pressed had also returned to its original position. Everyone, the food is cooked. Sue laughed and opened the lid of the automatic magic rice cooker. A rich fragrance of rice came out of it and made the stomachs of some people who had forgotten to eat their breakfast grumble a few times. Everyone looked at the white and tender rice in the automatic magic rice cooker, and they couldn't help feeling emotional. This automatic magic rice cooker, it was actually automatic. Hashtag in a small building in Saltan City. Simmerat was staring at the Saltan Morning News that was still releasing the fragrance of ink. His eyes were filled with a strong unwillingness and hatred. Damn, that damn Sue, he's clearly the one being sinister and stingy, but he's making it sound so good. Hypocrite. Simmerat's eyes fell onto the large headline of the Saltan Morning News, and he couldn't take it anymore. He fiercely tore the newspaper to pieces and turned to look at Rem, who was sitting at another table, also holding the Saltan Morning News, in silence as he said, "Hey, Rem, could it be that we're just going to watch this fellow be arrogant?" Compared to when he was in Camilla's magic tower, the current Rem had become much thinner. His face had also lost its high spirits, and he seemed extremely depressed and gloomy. Hearing Simmerat's question, Rem said with a bitter laugh, "What else can we do? We spent a lot of effort to crack the secret of the Shinfei brand magic rice cooker and thought that we could rely on this to compete with him. Who would have thought that he would casually take out something that surpassed us by a large amount? How do you think we can compare to him? Could it be that you want to give up like this?" Simmerat angrily said, "Who was it that told me that I had to make some achievements to surpass that fellow Sue E and make Wella look at me differently? If you give up like this, could it be that you're planning on giving up on Wella as well?" Hearing the name Wella, a pained look appeared on Rem's face as he said with a sigh, "Don't mention her anymore. Since she chose to go to the New Flyer last time, and I didn't go with her, I feel that we are getting further and further apart. Now, I feel that there is no hope between us." "What? Your woman has been stolen by Sue E, and you're planning on giving up like this? Are you still a man?" Simmerat asked in a sharp voice. Rem's breathing suddenly became faster. After taking a few deep breaths, he suddenly looked up at Simmerat and loudly roared, "Then what do you want me to do? She is now an employee of that damn Sue E, and she is even happy to talk to me about the trivial matters of working at that damn Frestec Chamber of Commerce. Her heart already belongs to the New Flyer. How do you want me to win against the New Flyer and steal her back?" Seeing Rem's excited expression, Simmerat's expression changed. He suddenly gave a laugh and reached out to grab Rem's shoulder, as he said in a low and mysterious voice, "Actually, it isn't that there's no way. It just depends on if you're willing or not." Chapter 153. After the New Flyer's product announcement was over, the Household Magic Machine Workshop became busy again. In the new Household Magic Machine Workshop that had just been finished last month, the original 500 workers and the newly recruited 200 workers made a total of 700 people working at full strength. They were working overtime for the new batch of orders for the automatic magic rice cooker. Because many Banda City citizens had seen the powerful functions and quality of the new generation automatic magic rice cooker, they were very enthusiastic about the New Flyer's products. 1 passed to 10 and 10 passed to 100. Almost everyone in Banda City knew about the power of the new generation automatic magic rice cooker. Even in Banda City, where rice wasn't that popular, there were still orders for over 5,000 units. After the Saltam Morning News and the Karma Times had exaggerated reports, the other cities were also very enthusiastic about the automatic magic rice cooker. When the announcement was over, there were quite a few merchants from the other cities who came to Sue E to make reservations. In just 3 days, there were over 20,000 orders for the automatic magic rice cooker in the other cities. What made Sue E the happiest was that this new generation automatic magic rice cooker was actually sold to Kramer City that was over 150 kilometers away from Banda City. It had to be known Kramer City was less than 100 kilometers away from Amblmar City. The New Flyer's products could reach Kramer City, so it wouldn't be strange if they went one step further and reached Amblmar City. Of course, there were already quite a few New Flyer products in Amblmar City. Victor's group of 3 noble young masters had sold over 300 variable temperature magic air conditioners in just 3 months of winter. Each variable temperature magic air conditioner earned them 10 gold coins from the Central District, so they had earned over 3,000 gold coins. Even if it was split among the 3 of them, each one of them had earned over 1,000 gold coins. Such a large amount of money was something that they never thought of before. The 3 of them who had tasted the sweetness were no longer the 3 young masters who spent their days in Amblmar City. Rather, they were serious about building a good relationship with the New Flyer, continuing to sell the various magic machines produced by the New Flyer in Amblmar City. Under Sue Yi's suggestion, they even used the first pot of gold they earned to create a Shinfei brand magic machine store in Amblmar City, specializing in selling New Flyer's magic machines. Because winter was over, this store no longer sold variable temperature magic air conditioners. Rather, they sold magic lamps and magic rice cookers that weren't restricted by seasons. When Sue E released the new generation automatic magic air conditioner, he told them about it. Adding in this order, when the automatic magic air conditioner was released, they had sold close to 30,000 units. Although the automatic magic air conditioner used the new silver leaf steel and used the temperature-controlled automatic cooking function that Sue E had copied from Earth, the cost was only a bit higher. It went from less than a gold coin for the first-generation magic air conditioner to just over a gold coin. As for the automatic magic rice cooker, with its new and outstanding design, it was even more popular than the first-generation magic rice cooker. Its price had increased from 3 gold coins to 3.5 gold coins, so the profit per unit had increased. Selling close to 30,000 units like this, New Flyer had earned a large profit of over 50,000 gold coins. Moreover, with the opening of a new workshop, there were 3 production lines for the new generation automatic magic air conditioner, and their production capacity had increased by 2 times. To complete the order for 30,000 automatic magic air conditioners, it would only take less than 2 months. Moreover, the factory outside Karma City was already in use. Although they hadn't recruited enough workers and their production capacity wasn't enough, it was enough to share some of the pressure from the Bana City factory. But for New Flyer, the most important thing right now was to complete the large order from the agriculture department. So the dwarves of the Magic Machine Workshop worked even more overtime than the household Magic Machine Workshop workers. He was very helpless about this. Before the labor car policy was approved by the Lampari Kingdom's parliament, New Flyer wasn't suitable for recruiting that many dwarves, so their production capacity was only at this point. While he was racking his brains on how to increase the production capacity of the Magic Machine Workshop, the Shinfei Guild welcomed a special merchant. That Chairman Su, hello. I am Fei Freeman. I'm your company's first farmer support, the one from the plan. He looked at the honest-looking middle-aged man who was stuttering because of his nervousness. After carefully thinking for a bit, he pointed at him and said, I remember now, you're the big stomach king from last time. Freeman gave 2 laughs. Because he mentioned the big stomach king, his nervousness lessened quite a bit. He said with a nod, That's right, it's me. When I came to the city last year, I met your big stomach king competition and I took first place. Then I participated in the farmer support plan. I remember that you paid back the money not long after the fall harvest. You were the first farmer to pay back the farmer support plan last time. He nodded before continuing. It seems like you were quite hard-working during the fall harvest last time. Just a single fall harvest, and you earned that much money with a single small magic harvester. Hearing he mention the small magic harvester, Freeman revealed a happy smile. Chairman I have to thank your New Flyer for this. If it wasn't for your plan, how could I afford a large toy like the magic harvester? Speaking of this, you and the New Flyer are my great benefactors. Our family doesn't have to worry about food and clothing now. It's all because of you. He laughed and waved his hand. Supporting you is one matter, and working hard is another matter. Of the farmers that participated last time, there were several families that didn't work hard enough, so they couldn't pay back their debts, and we took back the agricultural magic machines. Humph! These lazy fellows, they didn't grasp the chance given. They deserved it. Freeman fiercely said. He revealed a smile and didn't say anything else about this topic. He asked, All right, Freeman, let's talk about yourself. Why did you specially come looking for me this time? Could it be that you have other ideas about our farmer support plan? No, it's not the support plan, Freeman didn't come alone. This time, there were several normal farmers from Ireland Village with him. After saying this, he turned back to look at his companions, and those companions gave him looks of encouragement. Freeman gave a strong nod and turned back to to say that, Chairman I came this time to discuss something with you. Look, when I used the magic harvester to help the villagers harvest, the machine broke several times. In the beginning, I could only find the after-sales service center in the city to fix it for me, but after it happened many times, I learned how to fix it myself. After fixing it many times, I found that the magic harvester was made from pieces of iron. Don't you think so? He found this a bit funny as he said with a nod. Although there are some differences, it's pretty much the same if you say it like this. It's like this. There was a time when a board in the magic harvester broke, and the people in your repair center said that it would cost extra money to replace it. I wasn't willing, so I found a blacksmith in the village to help me make another one. Although it wasn't as easy to use as before, it could still be used. After that, hearing this, he had to raise his hand to cut him off. Get to the main point. Freeman, what do you want to say? If you have any requests or ideas, just say it. You can be considered an old friend of our New Flyer. There's nothing you can't say. All right, look at my mouth. I forgot about this matter once I mentioned it. Chairman Sue, you're a busy person. You can't waste time. And it's like this. Chairman Sue, I was thinking, since your company's magic harvester is made from these parts, can you give these parts to people like us to make? Wait, what did you say? Su Yi's eyes opened wide in surprise as he revealed a look of disbelief. You mean, you want to process the parts for the magic harvester? Processing? Oh, it seems to be this. Anyway, I've heard the people in your maintenance center say that your company has to produce these parts, and it requires quite a bit of manpower. Right now, you're always worried about not having enough people, so I thought that these parts aren't that hard to make. If you give them to us, you can save quite a bit of effort. After saying this, Freeman carefully looked at Su Yi with an expectant look. Chairman Su, what do you think? Is this all right? It was like Su Yi was seeing Freeman for the first time as he looked over him several times. When Freeman's heart skipped a beat, he finally broke out in laughter. Then he looked over Freeman and the companions behind him and asked, "This is the idea that you all came up with?" Freeman pointed to a similarly simple and honest-looking farmer with a dark complexion behind him and said, "This idea was thought of by Kovac. They said that I know you and even talked to you before, so they asked me to come and discuss it with you." Seeing the eager and expectant looks of these people, a very happy smile appeared on his face. He slapped Freeman's shoulder and loudly said, "All right, of course." Chapter 154. Su Yi had to admit that he had underestimated the people of the signs before. He thought that magic machines were a new thing in the signs, and that it would take a long time for people to accept this new thing, not to mention researching it themselves. So he always thought that it would take a long time for him to create a complete industrial system on the continent, and he might not even be able to see it in his lifetime. However, reality had mercilessly slapped him in the face. Once the magic machines were introduced, they were quickly accepted by the people of Banda City. After the king and the agriculture department announced their cooperation with a new flyer, the Lampari kingdom was like bamboo shoots after a spring rain. There were countless large and small magic machine companies that appeared. Even if these companies couldn't compare to the Frestek Chamber of Commerce right now, and the magic machines they produced were mostly imitations of the Frestek Chamber of Commerce's early products. In the areas that the Frestek Chamber of Commerce's sales network didn't reach, they could still earn a large amount. What really surprised Sue was that Freeman and the other normal Banda City farmers had actually thought of using his experience with the small magic harvester to make parts for the small magic harvester. This kind of business mind, Su Yi couldn't help being shocked by it. Su Yi happily agreed to Freeman's idea. First, he would let them take a look around the factory, and then he would personally guide them. As for Freeman's group's idea of buying several production magic machines to process components, Su Yi approved of it, but he didn't agree to their request to process large components. This was because with their current technology and shallow understanding of magic machines, if they rashly made large parts, it was very likely that they wouldn't be able to meet the requirements of the new flyer. If they didn't use it in the end, they would suffer a large loss. Finally, with Su Yi's suggestion, Freeman's group turned to the magic thread rolling machine. Although the screw bolt seemed small for all the magic machines the Frestek Chamber of Commerce made, it was an indispensable part, so it had many uses. Moreover, the magic thread rolling machine was the first magic machine made by the new flyer. After half a year of continuous research and innovation, it was much more mature compared to before. Not only was it easier to use and more stable, there were more screw bolts that could be made. It could satisfy all the requirements of the magic machines made by the new flyer. After Freeman's group looked around, they accepted Su Yi's suggestion and bought 5 magic thread rolling machines from the new flyer. The new generation magic thread rolling machine was sold for 40 gold coins each, so 5 of them were 200 gold coins. This was a large amount of money for normal farmers. Although Freeman's group had earned some money from the agricultural magic machines, it wasn't enough to take out this large amount of money. So when Freeman hesitantly proposed that he would buy the magic thread rolling machine like when he bought the magic harvester from the new flyer, Su Yi wasn't surprised at all and directly agreed to his request. To Su Yi, these normal farmers, including Freeman, were more important than the magic machine companies that were blooming all over the Lampari kingdom. Although they were just normal farmers who had bought a few magic thread rolling machines, they represented the most important component processing industry in the signs. As time passed, there would be more and more small companies like this. New Flyer would be able to hand over the components of their magic machines to these small companies, freeing up a large amount of people to focus on the things that Sui wanted New Flyer to focus on. Of course, the great ideals in Sui's heart would never be understood by everyone. It was Heinz before, but now that Heinz was in charge of the factory in Karma City, the person who questioned him was now Seabass. Sir Chairman, according to last month's financial report, we earned a profit of 764 gold coins from selling the various screw bolts. This doesn't include the profit from the large amount of screw bolts that we use. If it's added up, a conservative estimate would be over 2,000 gold coins. Unlike Heinz, who directly complained to Sui, Seabass was a strict and respectful person to Sui. When he gave his opinion, he would first list out the data to support his opinion. You sold the 5 magic thread rolling machines to those farmers for free and promised to help them learn how to make screw bolts, which is equal to giving the profits to them. Is it appropriate? Seabass looked at Sui with a doubtful look. Let me ask you a question. Sui didn't answer but asked back. Seabass, do you think that our New Flyer will become a first-class company in the end? Seabass was stunned. He never thought that Sui would suddenly ask this question. After thinking about it, Seabass gave a slight nod. Yes, Sir Chairman. I don't doubt that our company will become a first-class company on the Seabass continent. Sui revealed a faint smile. He never thought that Seabass would be this confident. He only asked if it would become a first-class company, but Seabass directly said that it would become a first-class company. All right, since we will become a first-class company, do you think that for such a large company, it would be possible for us to take over all the products under our name? Or to be more specific, do you think that our New Flyer will be able to take over the entire magic machine industry? Sui then asked. Under Sui's influence, the people of New Flyer were no longer unfamiliar with the magic machine industry. Seabass thought about it before shaking his head. We can't. According to Sir Chairman's plan, the magic machine industry is a giant. It is impossible for us to take it all by ourselves. That's right. Since we can't take it all, we will have to give a part of it to others sooner or later. It is clear that taking the initiative to give it up has a better effect than passively giving it up. Although the screw bolts alone represented a profit of 2,000 gold coins per month, or even more, it was still a small profit. But you should be able to see that the screw bolts don't require any technical foundation. You just need to buy the magic thread rolling machine from us, and then you can make it. Do you think that we should sell the magic thread rolling machine? Sui then asked. Seabass was silent for a bit before hesitantly replying, Actually, Sir Chairman, I've always been confused about the request you made to those unknown small companies to buy the magic machines. Right now, only our New Flyer can make the magic machines. So only our New Flyer's magic machines are of the best quality and have the highest production efficiency. Now that you're selling large amounts of these magic machines, there are many companies that produce magic machines in the Lampari Kingdom. Although these small companies can't pose a threat to us right now, they will still have some influence. Seeing the perfect look of doubt on Seabass' face, Sui couldn't help smiling. He thought that if it was Heinz, he definitely wouldn't be as tactful as Seabass. He would directly scold him for being a prodigal son, raising a tiger, etc. But for Heinz, Sui could directly refute him. He could say that this was his long-term plan, and he didn't need to care. But for Seabass, Sui couldn't directly refute him. Seabass, do you still remember what I said at the product announcement last time? Seabass knit his brows to think for a bit. Sir Chairman, I'm not certain what you're referring to. I said at the product announcement that our New Flyer wants to make a big cake and not steal it from others. Do you understand what I mean? Seabass was silent for a while. The doubt on his face faded, and it was replaced with a look of deep confusion. Sir Chairman, perhaps doing this will allow more people to understand magic machines and expand the market, making a big cake like you said. But with our New Flyer's current strength, after making a big cake, we might not be able to take the biggest piece. What? Are you doubting the strength of our company? Su Yi revealed a faint smile. Relax, don't worry. If I wasn't confident, do you think I would do these things? Seabass looked at Su Yi and didn't say a word. If he still doubted him at this time, it would be disrespectful to Su Yi, and he definitely wouldn't do this. Su Yi patted Seabass' shoulder with a smile. All right back to the Lord Viscount. I know what I'm doing, so he doesn't need to worry. This isn't the Lord Viscount's idea, Seabass reflexively replied. When he turned to see Su Yi's ghost smile, he couldn't help taking back his words. After pausing, he replied with a nod, yes. Seabass didn't need to write back to Viscount Leslie, because 2 days after their conversation, Viscount Leslie actually came back from Anvilmar City. What Su Yi didn't expect was that the one who came back with Viscount Leslie was Baron Hannes, who had been grounded by his family for 3 months. Seeing Su Yi, Baron Hannes immediately charged over with a wide smile. He gave Su Yi a strong hug before impatiently asking, Su Yi, how is my bandit times? Are you still doing well now? Were there any problems after I left? Su Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The Banta times isn't your child. Let me tell you, don't be disappointed. Although you're gone, the Banta times is doing much better than before you left with the hard work of Naki and the others. The daily sales volume is close to breaking 10,000. It's several times better than the Sultan Morning News and the Karma Times of the 2 neighboring cities. Baron Hannes immediately broke out in laughter. Why would I be disappointed? I'm very happy. Great. I was most worried about the Banta times when I was in Anvilmar City, but now that I've heard you say that it's developing this well, I'm assured. Su Yi looked at the spirited Baron Hannes and found that compared to when he left Banta City last time, the childishness on his face had faded quite a bit, and he was much more mature. Hannes, I've heard that there were 2 newspapers that appeared in Anvilmar City a while ago. They were called the Anvilmar Times and the Lampuri Weekly. Honestly speaking, are these 2 newspapers related to you? Su Yi asked. Hannes laughed and patted Su Yi's shoulder before whispering in his ear, It's good that you know, don't ask too much. Su Yi nodded with a faint smile and really didn't keep asking. He turned to Viscount Leslie on the side and asked, Lord Viscount, you're finally back. If it wasn't for the spring plowing, perhaps you wouldn't have come back this time, right? Viscount Leslie nodded with a smile. Indeed. After going back this time, something happened at home. If it wasn't for the spring plowing being very important, I really wouldn't have had time to come back. Su Yi couldn't help saying, This is a large piece of your territory, and you're a major shareholder of our company. If you're always not here, there are many things that will be troublesome. With you here, what kind of trouble is there? Viscount Leslie revealed a smile before suddenly giving a sigh. Su, let me tell you something that I don't know if it's good or bad news for you. After the spring plowing is over, perhaps I'll leave Banta City and never come back. Su Yi looked at Viscount Leslie in a daze. Seeing that he wasn't joking at all, he was speechless. Chapter 155. The 2 harvests of each year were the most important days for the Lampari Kingdom and Banta City. This year's spring harvest was more important than previous years. When Viscount Leslie's land was harvested, not only did it attract all the nobles with territories in Banta City, even the Lord City Lord personally came. He even gave a speech praising the harvest of Viscount Leslie's land. Other than this, the most surprising crowd was a group of normal farmers from the villages outside Banta City. Some of the ordinary farmers who were invited were farmers who had been here before. Although they were still a little nervous, they were no longer as reserved as they were the first time they saw so many nobles. As for those who were here for the first time, their eyes were all focused on the fields with looks of praise. These farmers who had worked in the fields for their entire lives had never seen such neat farmland before. It looked like it had been drawn out. When the fields were filled with golden ears of wheat, it was a beautiful picture in their eyes. The reason why there were so many people gathered here today was because of last year's fall harvest. Last year, under Su Yi's suggestion, Viscount Leslie had used the agricultural magic machines produced by the new flyer to greatly transform all the fields under his territory. He had even reclaimed the land that had been barren because of the lack of manpower. After the fall harvest, Large amounts of agricultural magic machines had been used in his territory. In the end, they had finished this project that many people thought was incomparably large in a short period of time. Now, it was time to see the results of this project. Since this farmland transformation project was a pilot project for Bana City, which was also set as a pilot project by the king, Count Sean Samo, as the Banta City Lord, had to be present. Other than that, 70, who was the representative of the Agriculture Department, had to be present as well. The results of this farmland transformation project would directly decide the plans of the Agriculture Department. Based on the facts in front of them, this result was without a doubt very good. Looking over, there was a large piece of land that was incomparably flat. It was perfectly cut into crisscrossing fields that were filled with golden wheat. Even if one didn't have experience in farming, they could easily tell that Viscount Leslie's territory had a large harvest this year. When Count Sean finished his speech and Viscount Leslie finished the sacrificial ceremony as the Lord, the several dozen small magic harvesters formed a line and each picked a piece of farmland to drive into. In less than half an hour, each small magic harvester had harvested in lieu of wheat. Seeing the large piece of golden wheat that only had a few short stalks left, and there were bags filled with wheat grains, the surrounding people couldn't help giving a sigh of praise. It should be said that this wasn't the first time these people had seen the harvest of the small magic harvesters, but seeing this magnificent harvest scene again, everyone couldn't help giving a sigh of praise. Chairman Sue, this year's harvest seems to be much faster compared to last year. A noble pointed at the magic harvester heading into the next field as he spoke to Sue. Our company has made some improvements to this batch of magic harvesters. It has made the rotation speed faster and the sifting frequency much faster, greatly increasing the efficiency. Sue replied with a faint smile. How about it? Viscount Samuel, you didn't buy one last year. Are you interested this year? Viscount Samuel laughed. All right, I'll definitely buy a few this year. Not only this magic harvester, I'll also buy the magic excavator, the magic plowing machine, and other things. In short, I want to transform the farmland on my territory like Viscount Leslie. Seeing Viscount Leslie's harvest this year, I really am a bit jealous. Relax, Viscount Samuel, it isn't too late for you to start now. As long as you immediately transform it after the spring harvest, with our company's magic machines, it will be finished in less than half a month, and there will be time to plant the seeds. That way, when the fall harvest comes, your territory will be able to see this magnificent scene. All right, then it's settled. Chairman Sue, since you've already promised me, don't tell me that you don't have any stock when the time comes. Viscount Samuel reminded him. Relax, our company's production efficiency has increased by quite a bit, so there definitely won't be a situation where we don't have any stock. Sue wanted to say a few more things to Viscount Samuel to finalize this deal, but he saw 70 waving her hand at him in the distance. He excused himself from Viscount Samuel and walked over. What? Young Miss 70, seeing this scene, do you have more confidence in our new Flyers agricultural magic machines? Sue, he asked with a smile. And it is indeed like this. 70 nodded with a faint smile. But Chairman Sue, I want to remind you that your new Flyer still has an order of 30,000 agricultural magic machines from our agriculture department that hasn't been completed yet. So I hope that you can guarantee this order first. Sue looked back at Viscount Samuel and gave a shrug. There's no other way. Our new Flyer is a Banta City company after all. We can't just not do business in Banta City, right? It's not a problem to do business in Banta City, but it's best if you don't do business in other cities for now. This will also help our agriculture department promote the agricultural magic machines. 70 said. Chairman Sue, I think that you should know that if our agriculture department truly promotes the agricultural magic machines, it will greatly promote the development of your new Flyer. So, I hope that you can complete our agriculture department's order first. As for the other magic machines, can you stop them for now? Sue knit his brows. Young Miss 70, your request is a bit too much. The contract we signed said that we would complete all the orders in 2 years, so with our current production efficiency, I feel that we can easily complete it. It's fine if you want us to complete the agriculture department's order first, but you also want me to stop developing the magic machines that really is forcing me. 70 thought about it before turning to look at the busy harvesting fields. After being silent for a bit, she suddenly gave a sigh. All right, Chairman Sue, I admit that I was impatient. Seeing this scene, I was a bit excited. I thought that it would be great if the entire Lampari kingdom could become like this, so I gave you an excessive request. I really am sorry. Sue, you revealed a faint smile. No need to be sorry. I understand your thoughts and the anxiety in your heart. After all, as the ruler of this country, of course you want this country to become stronger as soon as possible. Am I right, Your Highness? Yes, I really hope. 70 was suddenly stunned. She turned to look at Sue E, and her eyes opened wide as she asked in a surprised voice, When did you know? Not long ago. Sue E replied with a smile. Actually, I was very curious when I first met you. Why was a girl with such a noble aura only a normal official of the agriculture department? Moreover, you were this young. After you came to Banna City, I was even more curious. Why was it that as a normal official of the agriculture department, you could directly communicate with His Majesty and even negotiate with me on behalf of His Majesty? Of course, I only suspected that your identity wasn't simple, but I never thought that you would be our Lampari Kingdom's respected highness. Young Miss 70, or rather Her Highness 70, was only surprised for a bit before calming down. She said with a faint smile, If my guesses aren't wrong, this should be what Viscount Leslie told you, right? I clearly told him not to talk too much. Respected Highness, this isn't something that needs to be hidden, right? Sue, he couldn't help saying. Although hiding your identity will make you safer, it won't help you with your hard work. If I knew that you were Her Highness, our communication would have been more direct. Direct? Are you talking about directly asking for territory from me? 70 said without any courtesy. Sui laughed and didn't say anything. The so-called princess was different from a normal princess. A princess meant that she was the king's daughter, but a princess other than this identity also meant that she had the right to inherit the throne. That's right. As the only daughter of the Lampari Kingdom's king, Her Highness 70 and her two brothers also had the right to inherit the throne. Even because of Her Highness 70's excellent performance since she was young, she had a good reputation in the Lampari Kingdom. Many people felt that she was more qualified than the two princes to take the throne. If it wasn't for the fact that she was a girl, the king would have already appointed her as the only successor to the throne. Therefore, compared to the princesses of the other small countries in the signs, Her Highness 70 had much more power. If Sui knew that she was the princess, perhaps he would have directly asked for territory from her. You should give up on the territory, 70 firmly said. 70 said in a firm voice, Unless it's a special situation, the kingdom definitely won't give new territory. As for giving it to a normal merchant like you, it's even more impossible. Perhaps because of your new flyer's contribution this time, Royal Father will consider giving you the status of a noble, but he definitely won't give you territory. Sue, he gave an indifferent shrug. Respected Highness, you've misunderstood me. What I want isn't territory, but rather a piece of land that I can freely develop. Our new flyer needs to develop, so we need a large piece of land to build factories. Now that His Majesty has agreed to rent a large piece of land to me, my request has already been satisfied. I don't have that much hope for territory. 70 looked at Sue E. Chairman Sue, actually I'm very curious. Is there a difference between renting land from the royal family and renting land from Viscount Leslie? Of course there's a difference. At least the royal family won't take back the land if they're unhappy. Sue, he said. 70 narrowed her eyes and revealed a smile of deep meaning. Chairman Sue, did you receive some news? Sue gave a bitter laugh. He looked at Viscount Leslie, who was talking to Count Samo in the distance, and said with a sigh, Yes, there are some things that even Lord Viscount Leslie can't control. As for a small merchant like me, it's even more impossible for me to do anything. 70 also looked at Viscount Leslie in the distance, and after thinking for a bit, she gave a sigh. Viscount Leslie is a very good partner, but it's a pity that he isn't strong enough. Chapter 156. After the spring harvest, the final statistics showed that on Viscount Leslie's territory, Adding in the 21 hectares of farmland that had been cultivated last year and the 7 hectares of farmland that had been cultivated, the total yield of wheat was over 100,000 pounds. According to the calculation of 1 hectare equal to 15 mu, the yield of wheat on Viscount Leslie's territory was around 240 to 250 pounds per mu. Although it was still lacking compared to Earth's 500 pounds or even 1,000 pounds, it was very close to the yield of ancient times when Earth's technology wasn't developed yet. Moreover, the yield per mu on Viscount Leslie's territory wasn't important. The most important thing was the total yield. Before this, even if Viscount Leslie used all the slaves and guards under him, he could only cultivate 7 hectares of farmland at most. He could only harvest 20,000 pounds of wheat each season. But after using the agricultural magic machines to cultivate 21 hectares of farmland last fall, this year's spring harvest suddenly broke the 100,000 pound mark, increasing it by 4 times. Although everyone was prepared for this result, when they heard this number, they were still very shocked. After the shock, they were filled with joy. Since Viscount Leslie could rely on the agricultural magic machines to greatly increase the grain yield of his territory, it meant that other people could do the same. Among these people, the happiest one was naturally 70. Chairman Sue, if Royal Father knew the results of this harvest, he would definitely be very happy. Looking at the statistics in her hand, 70 couldn't suppress the joy on her face. Our Lampari kingdom doesn't lack land that can be cultivated, but we lack people, so there are many fields that are barren. Now that your new Flyer's agricultural magic machines have proven that you only need a few people to cultivate large amounts of farmland, it means that the barren fields in our kingdom can finally be cultivated. Like this, the kingdom's grain yield will definitely increase like Viscount Leslie's territory. Perhaps in less than 2 years, no one in the kingdom will have to go hungry. Sue looked at 70, who was so excited that she even forgot herself. If it wasn't for the fact that he had been hungry when he transmigrated to this world, he wouldn't have been able to understand the joy in 70's heart at all. After thinking about it, Sue smiled and said, "Your Highness, why do we have to wait for another 2 years? As long as they made use of the spring plowing season to modify the farmlands in the kingdom, they would see results as soon as the autumn harvest. Perhaps this year, you will find that the people in the kingdom don't have to starve anymore." 70 shook her head. "Of course I want it to be as soon as possible. But it would take time to spread the agricultural magic machines in the kingdom. It wasn't something that could be done in a short period of time. Not to mention," 70 looked at Sue with an aggrieved gaze. "Is it possible for New Flyer to complete those orders during the spring plowing period? Don't forget, I just wanted you to prioritize the production of magic machines, but you rejected me." Sue smiled awkwardly and said, "I can't do anything about that. After all, I have to consider the overall development strategy of the Chamber of Commerce. I don't mean to blame you. I just want to raise some expectations for you again. I hope that your Chamber of Commerce can prioritize completing this order as much as possible." 70's beautiful eyes stared right into Suyi's eyes, looking very sincere. "Chairman Sue, over half the people in the kingdom can't eat their fill. Whether or not you can solve this problem will depend on your new Flyer." Sue rubbed his nose with a bitter smile. "Your Highness, I feel a lot of pressure when you say this. Our new Flyer is only a small company. We don't need to take on such a large responsibility, right?" 70 revealed a faint smile. "The greater the power, the greater the responsibility. Isn't this what Chairman Sue said to me last time when you talked to me about my identity? Since your new Flyer has this ability, you have to take on this responsibility. Am I right, Chairman Sue?" Sue could only give another bitter smile. "That's right, Your Highness." Hashtag. After calculating the data of the spring harvest on Viscount Leslie's territory, 70 immediately left Banda City. According to what she said before she left, this time with the shocking effect on Viscount Leslie's territory, it would be easier to move the other nobles in the kingdom. It would also make it easier for the Agriculture Department to popularize the agricultural magic machines. According to the estimates of the Agriculture Department, Even if New Flyer completed the order of 30,000 agricultural magic machines from the Agriculture Department, it still wouldn't be enough to satisfy the demand of the Lampari Kingdom. In other words, there would be large amounts of orders for agricultural magic machines flying to New Flyer. Of course, Sue welcomed this. Selling agricultural magic machines was a very profitable business. Not to mention that once the agricultural magic machines became popular, it would be like what Sue imagined. Large amounts of labor would be released from a farm, and they would be put into the magic machine industry that had more prospects. Take Banda City as an example. Since last year, the nobles of Banda City had all bought some agricultural magic machines. Adding in the farmer support plan of New Flyer, many agricultural magic machines were given to normal farmers. So in most of the farmland outside Banda City, the agricultural magic machines were popularized. During this year's spring harvest, in less than a week, all the farmland outside Banda City had been harvested. After they finished harvesting, there were countless agricultural magic machines outside Banda City that went back and forth on the barren land that they didn't have enough people to work on, reclaiming the land. According to the data of the City Lord Manor, the amount of farmland being reclaimed was 3 times the amount of farmland outside Banda City. If the farmland could be reclaimed and planted during the spring harvest, when it was time for the fall harvest, Banda City's grain yield would shock everyone. Under the instructions of Counts Samo and Seveny, the Banta Times had advertised the changes in Viscount Leslie's territory, which could be considered pushing forward the reclamation of the farmland project. In the next 10 days, the Banta Times had a series of reports on this project, accurately showing the spectacular scene outside Banda City to everyone. To be able to do this, it was all thanks to Baron Hannes, who had specially returned to Banda City from Anvilmar City. Although he was much more mature than before, the moment he came into contact with the newspaper, Baron Hannes immediately returned to his previous passionate appearance. When he came back to Banda City, he headed to the Banda Times office and spent every day working in the office. When Baron Hannes was gone, the style of the Banta Times wasn't as sharp and aggressive as when he was here, becoming much more stable. But when he came back, it was like the Banta Times had been injected with a special spirit, instantly changing its style. This is Hannes' personal charm. Viscount Leslie looked at the Banta Times that had just come out today and said with a faint smile, "Perhaps it is because of his support that the Banta Times can become this sharp, even daring to report the ugly things done by nobles. I think that this fellow must be very happy because in Anvilmar City, even if he has a family behind him, there are many things that he doesn't dare report. Of course, could it be that he would dare report what color underwear His Majesty was wearing today?" Sue teased him. Viscount Leslie laughed. "Sue, you're wrong about this. He really did report some things about His Majesty's private life in the Anvilmar Times, even some embarrassing things. But this was all done under His Majesty's instructions. He wouldn't be that bold himself." His Majesty's instructions? Sue thought about it. Is this to create a more approachable attitude? That's right, Sue, you're quite clear on this. Viscount Leslie nodded. He looked at the Banta Times in his hand before casually throwing it on the table. With a sigh, he shook his head and said, "It's a pity that even if Hannes is happy here, he has to return to Anvilmar City in a few days." Seeing Viscount Leslie slightly knit his brows, Sue couldn't help asking, "You're also going back with him?" Viscount Leslie looked at Sue and didn't immediately reply. He slowly sipped his tea, as if he was considering how to answer Sue's question. Sue didn't rush him and just silently waited in his chair. After a while, Viscount Leslie put down his teacup and tapped his finger on the table. Then he looked at Sue and slowly nodded. "Yes, I will go back with him." "Then you won't come back like you said last time?" Sue kept asking. "Why? Aren't you living quite well in Banda City?" Viscount Leslie revealed a faint smile and shook his head. "Perhaps to you and most people, I'm living quite well in Banda City. But from the perspective of my family, it's very bad. I'm the family's eldest son, but I've been living in a small place like Banda City all these years to enjoy myself, but I'm actually avoiding my responsibilities. The family needs me to become a more important person, so they don't want me to continue staying in Bandit City. I could resist and escape before, but this time, I can't continue resisting and escaping. If nothing unexpected happens, after leaving Bandit City this time, I will enter the army and head to the northern border of the kingdom. I will accumulate military merits and experience according to the family's plan for me. If nothing unexpected happens in the future, I shouldn't have a chance to return to Bandit City. He was silent. This was the responsibility that Viscount Leslie had to bear since he came from a large noble family like the Stag family. He couldn't question anything. But Viscount Leslie was a different kind of noble. He was very magnanimous and didn't have the arrogance that most nobles had. Whether it was cooperating with him or being friends with him, it made people feel very comfortable. When he left, Suyi's heart was still a bit disappointed. Suyi, I invited you here today to tell you the reason why I'm leaving as a friend and to say goodbye. Secondly, as a partner, I want to make a final request to you. Viscount Leslie then said. Suyi forced out a smile. Just tell me what request you have. As long as I and the new flyer can do it, we will definitely do it for you. Viscount Leslie nodded and said with a serious look, Suyi, let me withdraw my shares. Chapter 157. Withdraw. Suyi was shocked. Why? Lord Viscount, although you're leaving, you can still keep your shares. I guarantee that you won't be short of your dividends each year. Is there a need for you to withdraw your shares? I feel. Let me finish. Viscount Leslie raised his hand and cut off Suyi. Suyi, let me ask you a question. The reason why you rented my territory and used that little slave as an opportunity to deliberately give up your shares to me was to get close to me, or more accurately, to get close to the family behind me, right? Suyi never thought that Viscount Leslie would ask this question. Although both sides were well aware of this matter, in a normal situation, no one would directly point it out. Seeing Viscount Leslie's serious eyes, Suyi thought about it before taking a deep breath and slowly nodding. Yes, Lord Viscount, since you're asking this, then I'll honestly answer. That's right, my goal was to approach you and the family behind you. Our new flyer is a small company that started from nothing, so if we don't have any background to support us, I feel that it would be very hard for us to survive in Bandit City, not to mention developing. When I learned that the Lord Viscount came from the Stag family, I immediately decided to approach you. Whether it was renting your territory or giving you shares in the company, it was all to form a good relationship with you and obtain the support of the Stag family. Viscount Leslie revealed a faint smile. Then last time you went to Ambilmar City and couldn't see Lord Father through me, you must have been very disappointed? Suyi honestly nodded. Yes. If I could see Lord Duke Stag, perhaps our new flyer would be noticed by the Lord Duke. We might also receive the attention and support of the Stag family, which would be very helpful to the development of our company. Is that so? Viscount Leslie revealed a somewhat playful smile. Viscount Leslie revealed a bit of a teasing smile. Then Suyi, have you ever thought that receiving Lord Father's attention might not be a good thing for you? Apart from helping and supporting the new flyer, there's another choice that's easier and more advantageous for Father, and that's to swallow the new flyer. Suyi's expression changed slightly. He forced a smile and said, that shouldn't be the case. New flyer is just a small and weak chamber of commerce. Why would His Grace take a fancy to it? Then why do you think Sir Father will support you? Viscount Leslie's question made Suyi speechless. Suyi, accept reality. If Father really paid attention to you and the new flyer, then you and the new flyer would most likely be controlled by the Stag family and wouldn't have a chance for you. Don't tell me you don't know what the 300 slaves I sent before represent. After a moment of silence, Suyi couldn't help but frown and ask, Lord Viscount, why are you talking to me about this? Also, why did you propose to withdraw your shares at this time? Why? Viscount Leslie revealed a smile as a trace of sadness flashed in his eyes. Because in this world, there are very few people that I like, and Suyi can be considered one of them. Suyi, although we haven't been in contact with each other much since I met you, I'm certain that you are a person with lofty ideals and ambitions. Moreover, you have abilities that others don't have. I even feel that you have the possibility of changing the world. I don't want to see this possibility erased by others, and I don't want you to sink down. So, I want to help you and give you a few pieces of advice. Seeing Viscount Leslie's sincere eyes and a serious expression that he had never seen before, Sue gave an abnormally slow nod. I asked Lord Viscount to enlighten me. First, that His Grace does not represent the Lampari kingdom, but rather the royal family. As for the royal family, they're the largest noble family in the kingdom. Second, between nobles, especially between large nobles, there are no true friends, only competing for benefits. The royal family has the most resources and benefits in the kingdom, so they have the biggest conflicts with the other large nobles. Third, I am the eldest son of the Stag family, but I am not part of the Stag family. You approaching me does not mean you can approach the Stag family. Moreover, you have already obtained His Majesty's appreciation and support. So, it is best if you remain loyal to His Majesty. Don't think of pleasing His Majesty and the Stag family at the same time. Fourth, His Majesty has already proven that he is a powerful king after being on the throne for several years, so don't doubt him. Fifth, you are an idiot when it comes to politics. Just honestly run the new flyer in the future and don't casually participate in politics. Sue and Viscount Leslie had known each other for a long time and had met quite a few times, but this was his first time hearing Viscount Leslie say such a long thing and in such a serious tone. These words of advice clearly came from the bottom of Viscount Leslie's heart. Each word was sincere and filled with truth. Sue kept nodding as he heard this. But when he heard the last piece of advice, Sue couldn't help feeling a bit unconvinced. Even Her Highness 70 had praised Sue for being a politician. So why did Viscount Leslie say he was an idiot when it came to politics? Discussing politics before you have reached the corresponding position already proves that you are an idiot when it comes to politics. Viscount Leslie reprimanded Sue without any politeness. My advice to you is to work hard in running the new flyer. When the new flyer is strong enough and can affect many things in the kingdom, you will have the qualification to discuss politics. When your words need to be seriously considered by many people, you will have the qualification to participate in politics. Otherwise, you will be seeking your own death. Sue thought about it and had to admit that Viscount Leslie's words were very reasonable, so he nodded and didn't refute it. But this still couldn't explain the question in his heart. But what does this matter have to do with you giving up your shares? Sue asked in a confused voice. First, because my goal is to become a large noble in the kingdom, my title must be increased. According to the rules of the Noble Council of Elders, I can't participate in business. There's no problem with just buying shares, right? Then again, you could just give your shares to someone you trust like Butler Brunei. Sue said, "Did you forget the advice I just gave you?" Viscount Leslie gave a soft snort. "I'm not from the Stag family, but the Stag family can represent me. If you keep your shares, it will be swallowed by the family, and you and the new flyer will become vassals. Even if it is Brunei." Viscount Leslie didn't continue, but Sue already understood his meaning. Thinking about the meaning in Viscount Leslie's words, Sue couldn't help feeling a bit moved. "Lord Viscount, why are you thinking about me like this? I've already said it. I feel that you have the possibility of changing the world. The current world is too boring, and it's hard for a special person like you to appear, so of course I don't want you to be destroyed. I can only help you with this much right now. I hope that you won't disappoint me." Sue revealed a faint smile. "Relax. If I let you down, wouldn't that mean that I'm not worthy of your expectations?" Viscount Leslie slowly nodded. "All right, then I'll give you one last piece of advice. After I leave, the family will send someone else to take over this territory. Although this person hasn't been decided yet, don't think that he will be like me." ####. A week after Sue and Viscount Leslie's conversation, Viscount Leslie and Baron Hannes got into the horse carriage again and headed back to Anvilmar City. Baron Hannes was very unwilling to leave Banna City, or rather unwilling to leave the Banna Times. The night before he left, he even grabbed Viscount Leslie and Sue to drink with him. Because his family had been strict since he was young, This was Baron Hanna's first time drinking like this. He was drunk after just a few cups and began to cry in front of Sue, E, and Viscount Leslie. That entire night, the two of them listened to Baron Hanna's talk about his dreams, his passion for betting on the bandit times, and his depression in Anvil Mars City, until he finally fell to the ground drunk and lost consciousness. As for Viscount Leslie, after his conversation with Sue, E that day, he didn't mention anything else. He just acted normally with Sue, E like before, like that day's conversation had never happened. Only Sue, E knew that in private, Viscount Leslie had Butler Brunei send over the share contract they signed last year. According to the contract, Viscount Leslie would transfer 30% of the shares to Sue E for 300,000 gold coins. It should be said that with the current value of the new flyer, this price wasn't high. But compared to Viscount Leslie's low investment in the past, this was still a large profit. Of course, Sue E and Viscount Leslie didn't care about this. If Viscount Leslie wanted to earn money, with the current development of the new flyer, it would be better to keep the 30%, guaranteeing that he would earn a profit of over 300,000 gold coins. The reason why Sue E gave the 30% to Viscount Leslie was to form a relationship with the Stag family, hugging this thick thigh. But Viscount Leslie had clearly told Sue E that relying on the Stag family wasn't a good choice. The final result was that the new flyer would be swallowed by the Stag family, not leaving a single scrap for Sue E. Towards the advice of the Stag family's eldest son, Sue E had no choice but to believe it. Even the eldest son of the family, Viscount Leslie, had said this and didn't hesitate to give the 30% back to Sue E. Other than proving that there was a conflict between Viscount Leslie and the family that Sue E didn't understand, it also proved that the Stag family wasn't worth relying on. But is His Majesty's support really that useful? Seeing Viscount Leslie and Baron Hanna's horse carriage disappearing into the distance, Sue E couldn't help thinking of Seveni's face that wasn't stunning, but was very good-looking, as well as having a gentle smile on her face. In Sue Yi's mind, compared to the king he had only met once, this princess was more trustworthy. Chapter 158. The departure of Viscount Leslie and Baron Hannis. Other than creating a ripple in Sue Yi's heart, it didn't affect the lives of the people of Banta City at all. Everything went according to plan. With the end of the spring plowing, Banta City's farmland reclamation project was smoothly completed with the support of large amounts of agricultural magic machines. According to the stats of the City Lord Manor, after this farmland reclamation project, the farmland outside Banta City had gone from 30,000 hectares to 110,000 hectares. Moreover, the corresponding crops had already been planted. According to preliminary estimates, Banta City's grain yield for the fall harvest would be at least 2 times higher than last year. If everything went smoothly, this shocking effect would be realized by the fall harvest. For Banta City's City Lord Samo Count, this would be a very important achievement. So although Samo Count had been very busy during this time, he had always been very happy. Every time he saw Sue E, he would always be very close to Sue E with a smile. However, when he heard Sue Yi's request today, his expression instantly became ugly. Build roads. Samo Count looked at Sue E with an awkward look. After a bit of hesitation, he said, Chairman Sue, although I don't know how different these roads are from the roads outside the city, it costs a lot of money to build the roads outside the city. These roads are proposed by someone like you who is willing to spend money. So wouldn't it cost even more? Our Banta City's current financial situation isn't that good. I'm afraid I can't agree to this. Sue E revealed a smile like he already expected this, and said in an uncaring voice, Lord City Lord, these roads do indeed cost a lot of money. But there's a saying in my hometown that if you want to be rich, you have to build roads first. The meaning is that if you want Banta City to be rich, the first thing you have to do is build roads and guarantee transportation. To give an example, our Banta City has quite a few specialties. For example, the magma fruit that Steel and I like to eat during this time is one of them. I think that the Lord City Lord must have eaten this fruit before, so you should admit that it is delicious, right? Samoyed Count couldn't help but nod. Yes, that's right. This magma fruit is juicy and sweet. You won't get sick of eating it. If it was sold in Anvilmar City, I think there would definitely be people willing to buy it for a gold coin per kilo. Exactly. Such good fruits, but because they weren't easy to preserve, they could only be sold in Banna City and the surrounding cities. Not only can we not afford to sell it, but we also can't promote it. We've lost a lot of money, Su-yi said with a look of pity. Indeed, if it can be sold. Wait, how is this related to building a road from Banta City to the falling rain valley? Count Samo suddenly realized something. To sell the magma fruit to further places, it's clear that building a road from Banta City to Anvilmar City is the most important. Kid, don't think that you can use the banner of Banta City to fight for benefits for your new flyer. The so-called Falling Rain Valley was around 50 kilometers to the west of Banta City, the land the Frestek Chamber of Commerce rented from the king. Because this land was surrounded by two mountain ranges and there was the falling rainforest behind it, it was named the Falling Rain Valley. As for the matter of the new flyer renting a large piece of land, Count Samo was very clear on this. How could he not know why Su-yi proposed building a road from Banta City to the Falling Rain Valley? Lord City Lord, our new flyer is also a company of Banta City. Fighting for benefits for a new flyer is also fighting for benefits for our Banta City. Su-yi immediately complained. If it wasn't for the fact that our company wanted to help Sir City Lord solve your problems, and was preparing to open more factories and recruit more workers, causing the 1 hectare of land we rented from Viscount Leslie to not be enough, why would we think of developing the Falling Rain Valley and even ask you to build a road? Lord City Lord, you can't wrongly accuse me. Count Samo snappily gave a cold snort. All right, kid, your words sound good, but in the end it's because your new flyer wants to develop. Even if I don't care, could it be that you're not prepared to open a new factory? After saying this, Count Samo's expression suddenly changed. After hesitating a bit, he asked, speaking of this, Su-yi, why didn't you continue renting Viscount Leslie's land? Why did you rent such a large piece of land from the king that is so far away from Banta City? Just using this reason of not being enough isn't enough, right? Su-yi gave a dry laugh. Lord City Lord, renting Viscount Leslie's land is a bit inconvenient. Then again, in a few days, it won't be Viscount Leslie's land and will belong to someone else. Oh, it seems like that kid, Leslie, told you this before he left? Count Samo looked at Su-yi in surprise. That kid is quite good to you. He's actually willing to tell you this. The Lord Viscount is indeed quite good to me. Thinking of Viscount Leslie's advice before he left, Su-yi couldn't help giving a sigh in his heart. He rubbed his knitted brows and took a deep breath before saying to Count Samo, Lord City Lord, even if it is for our new flyer developing the Falling Rain Valley, building a road from Banta City to the Falling Rain Valley is a very proper reason. You said that you would fully support the development of our new flyer, and now that we have met a bottleneck, we need your support. You can't just reject us like this. Kid, you want to squeeze me? Count Samo scolded with a smile before giving a sigh. Actually, I understand your thoughts, and I also want to help you. I even seriously studied the road plan you gave me last time and felt that if we built more roads according to your plan, it would be very helpful to Banta City's development, but Count Samo spread his hands with a helpless look. I really don't have any money. Although Banta City's tax revenue is considered quite good in the Lampari Kingdom, there's a large part of it that goes to the kingdom's treasury each year. The remaining money is mostly used to maintain Banta City, so there isn't any extra money to do anything else. As for building roads, not to mention the large cost of materials, just the amount of manpower is hard for me to gather for you. Su-yi laughed. Lord City Lord, this is the important reason why I came looking for you this time. Building roads is not the same as building roads that you think of. Last year, our new flyer built a road to a factory, and the biggest cost was in manpower, so I understand your difficulties. But building the cement roads I mentioned is different because there are large amounts of magic machines, so the manpower isn't as high as you think. The main cost is in materials. Magic machines? Count Samo looked at Su-yi with a confused look. You mean that your new flyer can even make magic machines for building roads? He slightly raised his head and said with a proud look, "Of course. Our new flyer specializes in developing magic machines. So naturally the magic machines needed to build roads aren't a problem." Then based on your meaning, these magic machines should have already been developed? Samo Count Samo asked. Not only have they been developed, they have already been put into use. He replied with a smile. Lord City Lord, didn't the Amsterdam Chamber of Commerce's Chairman Cruz invite you to see the new cement roads 2 days ago and recommend that you change the square in front of the City Lord's Manor to this kind of road? Samo Count Samo thought about it before understanding. Your new flyer is also involved in this cement? When you said this, I felt it was very strange. Why would a fellow like you know about this thing? Accurately speaking, this thing was taught to the Amsterdam Chamber of Commerce by me. Moreover, the most important cement was provided by our new flyer cement factory. He said with a smile. Lord City Lord, what do you think about building roads with this cement road? Of course it's very good. Samo Count Samo said without any hesitation. To be honest, I thought about this problem when I saw the cement road 2 days ago. Since this thing can be used to pave a square, it can be used to pave a road. This thing is much flatter and sturdier than normal ground. If we can build this kind of road, it would be countless times better than the dirt and stone roads outside Bandit City. After saying this, Samo Count Samo gave another long sigh. But it's still the same problem. This cement road is very expensive, and according to Chairman Cruz, it costs 60 silver coins to pave a square meter of road. If we use this to pave a road, that is simply using gold coins to pave a road. He revealed a faint smile. He thought that if a square meter of cement road cost 60 silver coins, it would only be 60 RMB per square meter. If the people on Earth knew about this, they would definitely think that this was a shoddy construction. Of course, this was because the prices of this world were too low. Actually, 60 silver coins to pave a square meter of road. For the people of this world, it was indeed a shockingly high price. Lord Count Samo, you don't need to worry. You don't need to pay a single copper coin for this road. I came looking for you today to hope that you can approve the construction of this road. Without your approval, I wouldn't dare rashly build such a long road. He said. Count Samo was stunned. You mean, this road from Banta City to the Falling Rain Valley that is over 50 kilometers long, your new flyer is planning to pay for it all? Sui nodded with a faint smile. That's right. Chapter 159. Building roads was something that cost a lot of money. On Earth, most of the time, the construction of roads was mainly funded by the government and supplemented by private capital. It was very rare for private capital to completely build a road. This was because the road network could be considered the main artery of a country. Its importance was self-evident. If it wasn't controlled by the government, it would be very easy for there to be large problems. If possible, Sui naturally hoped that the road network he had in mind would be funded by the Lampari Kingdom. But the fact was that the Lampari Kingdom's finances weren't good. The large companies and nobles of the kingdom were rich, but the kingdom's finances didn't have any money. This was reflected in Banta City. The city lord, Count Samo, and the chairman of the large companies could live luxurious lives, but Banta City's finances didn't have any money left. To use this kind of poor finances to support the cost of building roads, it was clearly impossible. So Sui immediately gave up on the idea of having Banta City or the Lampari Kingdom pay for the roads and decided to do it himself. Viscount Leslie's advice before leaving could be considered a warning to Sui. This made him have no confidence in continuing to expand the company's factory on Viscount Leslie's, or rather the Stag family's territory. So he had to develop the Falling Rain Valley. Although the Falling Rain Valley's location wasn't bad, being at the intersection of the Falling Rain Forest and the Hungwan Mountain Range, it was easier to establish contact with the Elves of the Night Song Forest, the Norma tribe, the Angola tribe, and the other dwarven tribes, but it was still 50 kilometers away from Banta City. If they wanted to develop, they had to guarantee transportation, so they had to build a road to Banta City first. This road was estimated to be around 50 to 55 kilometers long. According to the Embark Chamber of Commerce's price of 60 silver coins per square meter, a 3-meter wide, 15-centimeter thick concrete road that could accommodate 2 horse carriages, including the cost of building the road, would cost around 130 to 150,000 gold coins. It should be said that this price wasn't high for a road that was 50 kilometers long, but it was equal to all of the cash flow of a new flyer. So he naturally couldn't pay it all in cash. Isn't that simple? We'll use the old method and use the cement to pay. Chairman Cruz patted his chest and said to Sue E with a heroic look, "We're all old friends. I trust you, Chairman Sue. Our company can help you with this project, and we can slowly pay you. I'm not in a rush, haha." Sue E looked at him, thinking that he wasn't in a rush. According to Chairman Cruz's plan, he wanted Sue E to spend more money on this road. That way, the Embark Chamber of Commerce could continue monopolizing the Frestac Chamber of Commerce's cement and expand their lead in the construction industry. Of course, Sue E wouldn't reject this method. He wasn't willing to pay in cash, so using cement to pay was an acceptable method. After the Norma Tribe Cement Workshop had been in production for a while, the dwarves had gradually grasped the technology to produce cement. Adding in the magic pulverizer that new flyer had developed, the Norma Tribe cement production had increased. It had gone from 3,000 tons of cement a month to 7,000 tons of cement a month. With the other 2 cement workshops that the Angola tribe and the Norman tribe worked on, New Flyer's monthly cement production would be over 20,000 tons. According to the price of 6 gold coins per ton of cement that Sue E and Chairman Cruz had agreed on, in just a month or 2, New Flyer would be able to use cement to pay for this road project. Of course, if Sue E sold the cement publicly, the price would definitely be over 6 gold coins per ton, which would give him more profit. But New Flyer needed to do too many construction projects right now, so they couldn't leave the Amsterdam Chamber of Commerce. Sue E was happy to use cement to maintain the good relationship between the 2 companies. Anyway, the cement production mainly used the limestone and clay that the dwarves dug from the Hunduan Mountains, so the cost was almost negligible. "All right, let's do this." Thinking of this, Sue E nodded, confirming the cooperation between the 2 sides. "Right, Chairman Cruz. I heard that Chairman Morgan found you and said that he wanted to cooperate with your Amsterdam Chamber of Commerce on magic machine research." Chairman Cruz waved his hand with a look of disdain. "Che, this fellow didn't just find me, he's found all the companies with a bit of strength in Bandit City." But almost none of them agreed to his request, because everyone knows that no one can compare to your new flyer in terms of magic machine research. Rather than wasting effort, it is better to just do what you're good at. Don't you think so, Chairman Sue? That's right. Sue E nodded, but he gave a cold laugh in his heart. If it was said that the Embark Chamber of Commerce rejected the Fulcao Chamber of Commerce's invitation to research magic machines, he would believe it. But if it was said that the Embark Chamber of Commerce wasn't interested in researching magic machines, Sue E wouldn't believe it even if he was beaten to death. Now in Bana City, including the Fulcao Chamber of Commerce, who didn't plan on hiding their intentions, almost all the large companies with strength were investing in magic machine research. It wasn't just for the large profits brought by magic machines. It was also to grasp the magic machine technology and develop magic machines according to their needs. Now, in the large companies of Bana City, there was no exception that they were all using the magic machines produced by the new flyer. Take the Fulcao Chamber of Commerce as an example. Just last week, Chairman Morgan had personally placed an order for 10,000 small magic drills with Sue E. At the same time, Chairman Morgan was also very interested in the magic impact crusher that Sue E showed. He said that once he tested it, he would place a large order with a new flyer. The price of the small magic drill was 78 gold coins per unit, so 10,000 units was a total of 780,000 gold coins. The price that Sue E proposed for the magic impact crusher was 260 gold coins per unit. If they wanted to order in large quantities, it would cost a large amount of gold coins without a doubt. If the Fulcao Chamber of Commerce could develop these 2 mining magic machines and make them themselves, they would without a doubt save a large amount of gold coins. Other than the Fulcao Chamber of Commerce, the Amsterdam Chamber of Commerce was the same as the other companies. All the companies wanted to get rid of this situation where the new flyer was earning large amounts of profits. But after using the magic machines, everyone had to admit that these magic machines were very easy to use. It was to the point that these companies couldn't leave these magic machines at all. Since they couldn't leave, the only method left was to develop them themselves. They would work hard to grasp the technology to produce these magic machines and no longer be controlled by the new flyer. But up to this point, other than the magic fan that Sue had taken the initiative to give them, the other magic machines, especially the large magic machines, the other companies couldn't make any progress at all. These thoughts flashed in his mind, and Sue, he couldn't help finding it funny. He patted Chairman Cruz's shoulder and said in a friendly voice, "Of course, we are good partners. If the Amsterdam Chamber of Commerce is really interested in researching magic machines, Chairman Cruz can come and talk to me. As long as I can help, I will do my best to help." "Really?" Chairman Cruz's eyes lit up before coming back to his senses. He revealed an awkward smile and shook his head as he said, No. Our Amsterdam Chamber of Commerce should just focus on building houses. Only Chairman Sue and the new flyer can play with complicated things like magic machines, so I won't join in on this fun." Sue revealed a faint smile and didn't continue this topic. He turned to discuss the specific plans for building this road with Chairman Cruz. It was already close to dusk when he finished talking to Chairman Cruz. Sue rejected Chairman Cruz's invitation for dinner and walked to a large courtyard in the south of Banda City. With the addition of Evita and Akali's 5 classmates, the small building they lived in before was no longer suitable for being the Academy of Magic. So Sue bought this courtyard in the name of New Flyer ahead of time. This courtyard used to be the residence of a viscount in Banda City, but because this viscount left Banda City, it was empty and Sue bought it. The courtyard was over 2,000 square meters, with 3 small buildings and several small rooms. Other than allowing the 10 current Academy of Magic employees to do research at the same time, there were also extra residences for Evita and Akali's 5 classmates. When Sue walked in, he smelled a fragrance. Taking a strong sniff, Sue was certain that tonight's dinner was made by Evita. As expected, when he walked in a hall behind the main door, he saw Evita taking off her apron and preparing to sit down to eat. Seeing Sue suddenly come over, the group of people were stunned. After a while, Akali jumped up and excitedly called out to Sue, "Sir Chairman, why are you here?" Sue revealed a faint smile. "I don't have a place to eat, so I came here to freeload." Looking over the dishes on the table, Sue pointed at a dish that was a bit burnt and said with a smile, "Let me guess, this dish should be made by Akali, right?" Akali angrily glared at Sue before saying with a cold snort, "I'm sorry, Sir Chairman, you guessed wrong." "Oh, other than you, is there anyone else who can make a dish that should be fried into a barbecue?" Sue pretended to be surprised as he spoke. Everyone at the table broke out in laughter. "Sir Chairman, you really guessed wrong. This dish was made by Cecilia. It isn't related to Akali." Bella on the side said with a smile. "Ah." Sue looked at the blushing Cecilia in surprise. He didn't think that this quiet girl who he thought was even quieter than Evita would be worse at cooking than Akali. "This is really too surprising. I thought that quiet girls would be able to cook like Evita. I didn't think that there would be an exception." Cecilia's head drooped even lower as she gnawed on the bread in her hand without saying a word. "Sir Chairman, don't bully Cecilia. She's very shy." Claire, who had a head of naturally curly black hair, said with a smile, "If she takes things too hard tonight and runs to my room to cry, then I'll have to ask Sir Chairman for compensation." Cecilia suddenly raised her head and punched Claire's shoulder. She angrily said, "You're the one who cries." Seeing Cecilia's appearance, everyone couldn't help but laugh even louder. Seeing that even Shock, who didn't have a good expression, couldn't help secretly laughing, Sue couldn't help feeling gratified. It seemed like after working together for a while, these young people had already adapted to living here. It was because of their vitality and talent that New Flyer was able to develop all kinds of magic machines that shocked people again and again. Perhaps these young people weren't clear, but Sue was certain. As long as they worked hard enough, they would definitely become powerful magic mechanical engineers in the future, becoming an important part of the magic machine industry. Looking over the young faces, Sue suddenly found a problem. Right, where's Wella? Why don't I see her? Did she go out to eat? Sue asked. In order to make it easier for research, after buying this courtyard, Sue had Wella move from the office in the factory to work here. Because Wella was alone in Banna City, she ate and lived in the same courtyard as Cecilia and the others. Big sister Wella went out before eating. She said that she was going to see someone, but she didn't say when she would be back. Evita replied, "See someone?" Sue was a bit confused. After coming back from Sultan City, Wella wasn't willing to come out during this time. She didn't want to see anyone she knew in Banna City. So why did she suddenly run off to see someone today? Perhaps big sister Wella went out to see her boyfriend. So let's not wait for her. Akali waved her hand. Sir Chairman, you should sit down and eat. It's a good thing that Evita made a bit more today. But why aren't you going back to eat today? Where's Vivian? There's an event at the school today, so Vivian didn't come back for dinner. Otherwise, why do you think I came here to eat? Sue casually replied before sitting down with a doubtful look. That's not right. Even if you want to find a place to eat, you should go to Steele's place. You're Steele's boyfriend now, so if you go to her place to eat, Steele will definitely welcome you. Bella said. Shock sitting in front of Sue froze. He looked up at Sue with a complicated look in his eyes before lowering his head to silently eat. But Steele went to Karma City to advertise our company and isn't back yet. I can't just eat a candlelit dinner with great magician Camilla, right? Everyone broke out in laughter again. When the laughter stopped, there were footsteps that came from the door. Sue turned to look and saw Wella walking in with someone. After seeing the person beside Wella, Sue was stunned. Rem, why are you back? Chapter 160. Why'd he say again? Because a few months ago, after Wella and Rem left Sultan City's Leo Chamber of Commerce, they returned to Banna City. But when Sue invited the two of them to join the new flyer, Wella chose to accept and Rem rejected Sue. Later, Sue asked Wella about Rem's whereabouts and learned that after Rem left Banna City, he found another company to work for. As for what he was doing and which company he was working for, Rem didn't even tell Wella. Sue thought that Rem was hiding it from Wella because he was planning to be like those men who failed in their careers, going out to find a good result before announcing it to Wella. Who would have thought that he would appear in Banna City again, in front of him? Moreover, he had a disappointed look on his face, looking like a loser. Sue couldn't help saying the word again. When he said this, Sue immediately realized that this wasn't right. He quickly stood up and called out to the two of them with a smile. Come, sit down. Rem, since you and Wella came back at this time, you shouldn't be eating outside, right? Come, sit down and eat. Today's dishes were made by Evita. The taste isn't bad. Wella nodded and pulled on Rem's sleeve, sitting down first. Rem revealed a forced smile to Sue. Sue, why are you also here? I have some work to give to my colleagues at the Magic Research Facility, so I came to get a free meal. Sue casually replied. Looking at Wella sitting down, after hesitating a bit, he gave up the idea of asking anything else and called Rem over to sit down. Akali and the others at the table looked over Wella and Rem, looking very curious. Although Wella was only a few years older than them, she was different from them who had just graduated from school. Not only was her magic power stronger than them, she was more mature and had more experience than them. Although they hadn't known each other for long, Wella had already obtained their inner recognition and respect. Moreover, Wella was usually serious in speech and manner, and her expression was always somewhat cold. This made them respect her, but at the same time, they felt that she was somewhat unapproachable. But now they saw Wella leading a man who was about the same age as her. It was really surprising. Seeing Rem naturally sitting next to Wella, the curiosity in the group's eyes grew even stronger. Could it really be, as Akali had guessed, that Rem was Wella's boyfriend? The atmosphere at the table was a bit strange. There were several times when Akali and Bella couldn't hold back the flames of gossip in their hearts. They wanted to ask what was going on, but they were stopped by Suyi's gaze each time. Wella, on the other hand, maintained her usual demeanor and slowly finished her meal. Rim, on the other hand, was clearly unnatural. His expression was stiff as he stuttered through the meal. When Wella finally finished eating, Rim immediately put down his bowl, looked at Wella, and gave her a look. Wella was silent for a bit before saying to Sue, "Chairman, I have something to discuss with you. Do you have time?" Hearing Wella call him chairman and the respect in her voice, Rim's expression changed slightly before returning to normal. Sue, he had already finished eating and was patiently waiting while drinking tea. Now that he heard Wella finally speak, he put down his teacup and stood up. He pointed at the back of the hall. "Let's talk in the back. Don't disturb their meal." Wella and Rim stood up at the same time. In front of the curious gazes of a collies group, they followed Sue E to a small room in the back of the hall. The three sat down, and Sue E looked at the silent Wella and Remington. With a smile, he broke the silence and asked Rim, "I've heard Wella say that you found a new company to work for. Are you still researching magic machines?" Rim's expression froze as he looked at Sue E with a complicated gaze. He said with a bitter smile, "That's right, this company is also researching magic machines. But after working for a while, I've found that Wella's words weren't wrong at all. If we're talking about researching magic machines, there isn't a company that can compare to your new flyer, or rather, Sue E. The company I've been working at has been researching magic machines for a while, but they haven't had any results yet. The requirements for magic machines are very complicated, so it isn't realistic to want to have results in a short period of time." Sue E nodded before pointing at Wella and saying, "Our new flyer being able to have these results is because of the hard work of the researchers at the Academy of Magic, including Wella. It's fine if it's Wella, but looking at the other researchers of your research facility, aren't they just kids who have just graduated? How powerful can their magic be?" A trace of disdain flashed across Rem's face. A look of disdain appeared on Rem's face. Since they can have some results, there is no reason that we magicians who are stronger can't have any results. Sue, he couldn't help knitting his brows. Why was this Rem still so arrogant? He had clearly said that he hadn't had any results, but now he dared to look down on Evita and the others who had made large amounts of progress with magic machines. Saying that his eyes were high but his abilities were low was already an understatement. Wella looked at Rem and coldly said, "The truth is that you haven't had any results yet, and the children you look down on have relied on their own efforts to make many results. Our new flyer has made many kinds of magic machines, and other than some being researched by great magician Camilla, most of the rest were made by them. What qualifications do you have to look down on them?" Rem's face turned red from Wella's impolite words, and he couldn't say a word for a while. Seeing that the atmosphere was a bit awkward, Sue E said with a smile, "Let's not talk about this. Rem, did you come back this time to see Wella, or is there something else?" Rem hesitated a bit, but he didn't reply as he looked at Wella. Wella knit her brows before relaxing them. She looked at Sue E with a calm expression and said, "Chairman, Rem came back this time to work in Banda City. According to my meaning, if you want him to work for our company, it would be best if he could study magic arrays with me at our Academy of Magic. What do you think?" If they were talking about arrogance, Rem was far from being able to compare to Wella. Since meeting Wella in the Magic Tower last year, it had been close to a year now. This was Suyi's first time seeing Wella ask someone for a favor. Thinking of this, Sue-yi looked at Rem with a strange expression, but he found that he was looking at him with an expectant look, without a trace of shame on his face. Sue-yi couldn't help giving a cold laugh in his heart. This fellow, if he had made this request, perhaps Sue-yi would have thought a bit more highly of him. Now that he was urging Wella to make this request, it really made Sue-yi feel a bit of disdain from the bottom of his heart. Although the previous Rem always looked down on people, and Sue-yi didn't like him, he had never made Sue-yi feel disdain for him. He didn't know what he had experienced in the months he had left Banda City, but he had actually become like this. But disdain was disdain. Wella had finally made a request to him, so he had to give her face. After considering it, Sue-yi revealed a smile again as he said with a smile, "All right, our new flyer is currently in need of magicians to join our research. For a magician like Rem, who has experience with magic machines, of course we welcome him. I'm very clear on Rem's magic power, so there's no need for a test. I represent the Frestec Chamber of Commerce here to welcome you. Remington. Seeing Su Yi reach his hand out, Rem quickly stood up and took Su Yi's hand as he said with a smile, "Thank you." Su. Chairman, I will definitely work properly. No, I will properly study here. Su Yi revealed a faint smile. He thought that at least you know how to properly study. Otherwise, if you still look down on people, you might not be able to stay in this Academy of Magic. Wella, there are some things you need to pay attention to, so I won't say much. Help me tell Remington, Su Yi then said. Other than that, I'll have someone send over the employment contract and a confidentiality agreement tomorrow, so you can tell Rem what to do. Wella nodded in response, but Rem asked in a surprised voice, "Confidentiality agreement? What is that?" "Oh, it's an agreement to prevent researchers from leaking the company's secrets. If you violate it, you have to pay compensation. This isn't a big deal. As long as you don't violate the agreement, it doesn't affect anything." Su Yi explained. Rem's expression changed a bit, but it quickly returned to normal. He said with a nod with a smile, That's right. After all, New Flyer has a lot of magic machine-related technology, so if it was leaked, it would cause quite a bit of losses." Su Yi nodded with a faint smile. "It's good that you understand." After chatting for a bit and finalizing some matters related to hiring Rem, Su Yi stood up to leave. Wella stopped Akali and Evita, who wanted to send Su Yi off, sending Su Yi out alone. When the two walked out of the lab, Su Yi looked at Wella and said, "Wella, if there's anything you can't say in front of others, just say it. We were all colleagues at Carmilla's Magic Tower before, so with our relationship, there's nothing you can't say." Wella silently looked at Su Yi for a bit before saying in a soft voice, "Thank you." Su Yi revealed a faint smile. "You're too polite. Our New Flyer needs a large amount of magicians, so even if you didn't say anything, I was very willing to hire a magician like Rem who has experience with magic machines." "But Rem..." Wella opened her mouth, but she didn't say anything else and just gave a soft sigh. Seeing the lonely look on Wella's face, Su Yi couldn't help saying, "Wella, do you mind if I ask you about some private matters?" Wella looked up at Su Yi and revealed a bitter smile. "You want to ask about my relationship with Rem? Right. I heard you say that Rem hasn't returned to Bana City in several months and hasn't even contacted you, so I'm a bit worried. I used to be colleagues in the same research lab in Camilla's Magic Tower, and I was quite envious of the two of you. But in this situation, Su Yi thought about it and found that he couldn't say the rest. It would be too direct. It should be impossible between us." Wella replied very straightforwardly. Wella directly replied, "I thought that I would be very happy when he decided to come back to Bana City. But when I saw him come back, I found that there weren't any fluctuations in my heart at all. It could even be said that I didn't have any special feelings after seeing him. It was like I was looking at a stranger. So I know that it should be over between the two of us." Su Yi was silent for a bit before asking, "But now that he has joined the research facility, you will be working together every day. Won't this affect you?" Wella shook her head. "It won't. I really don't have any feelings for him right now. At most, I will treat him as an acquaintance in the future. If you want me to return to the way I was before, that is definitely impossible." Su Yi had a bit of understanding of Wella's personality. He knew that since she said it was impossible, it really was impossible. He wanted to comfort her, but he found that Wella didn't need his comfort at all. Thinking about it, Su Yi could only say with a dry laugh, "All right, I don't have anything else to say. I hope that Rem will work well in the research facility. With his abilities, I believe that he will soon become an important member of the research facility." Wella gave a slight nod and didn't say anything. Su Yi paused and found that there was nothing else to say, so he waved his hand to bid farewell to Wella. When he walked out of the alley, he turned around and found that Wella was still standing at the entrance of the research facility. She was looking up at the night sky, and it was unknown what she was thinking. Su Yi secretly gave a sigh. This magician couple that his colleagues thought highly of had actually broken up like this. He really couldn't help sighing in his heart. If Steele broke up with him one day, would she be as calm as Wella? Chapter 161. Impossible. Steele's face was resolute and decisive. She replied without hesitation. First of all, I will never break up with you. Second, even if you don't want me one day, I will definitely go crazy. I will never be as calm as Wella. And if you break up with me because you wronged me, I will most likely challenge you to a duel. Sue-E laughed. He reached out his hand and scratched her nose. Challenge me to a duel? Don't forget, my strength has increased greatly. I am now a real 5th-level magician. I am not weaker than you. If you really want to duel with me, I don't know who will win or lose. Then how about we have a duel right now? Steele pushed Sue-E away. She stood up and assumed a duel posture. Sue-E smiled and waved his hand. All right, you are such a kind and beautiful girl with a good character. How can I bear to not want you? To be honest, I am worried that you, the goddess in the hearts of countless people, will not like me one day and abandon me. Right? You still haven't talked about your trip to Karma City. How was it? Did you have fun playing for 2 days? Playing? I didn't have time to play, okay? Steele rolled her eyes at Sue-E. With a leap, she threw herself onto Sue-Ye's bed. She hugged Sue-Ye's quilt and rolled around twice, complaining, These 2 days I've been helping the Chamber of Commerce advertise. If I wasn't attending banquets, then I would appear in all kinds of activities. When I finally have a bit of free time, the nobles and merchants of Karma City always come to harass me. Really, everyone clearly knows that I am your girlfriend. Why do they still come to find me? Could it be that they still haven't given up? Chasing after beauty is human nature. You can't stop it. Sue-E said with a smile. Besides, you're only my girlfriend. You haven't become my wife. How can other people give up? Steele looked at Sue-E in surprise. She narrowed her eyes and revealed a sly smile. What? Sue-E, are you proposing to me indirectly? Sue-E gave a shrug. If the beautiful young Miss Steele is willing to agree, what does it matter? Steele buried her face in the quilt and thought for a while. Then she turned her head and gave Sue-E a sunny smile. Sorry, I haven't decided yet. Chairman Sue, you have to work harder. Sue-E let out a long sigh and said helplessly, That's why you don't have to worry about me abandoning you. I'm the one who should be worried. Steele jumped up from the bed and jumped into Sue-Ye's arms. She kissed him on the cheek and smiled. Don't worry. Unless you become a man with no self-respect like Rem, how could I not want you? Although there are always a bunch of annoying men around you wherever you go, none of them can compare to you. But other than me, there are many girls who are as beautiful and charming as me around you. I'm worried. Sue-E was surprised. There are many girls who are as beautiful and charming as you around me? Where are they? Can you introduce them to me? Steele smiled and pointed at Vivian, who was walking out with a plate of food. Here, let's not talk about Evita and Akali. Vivian has already grown into a little beauty. To be honest, did you buy her from Viscount Riley because of this? Hearing Steele's words, Vivian's face turned red. She put down the food in her hands and ran back into the kitchen. After a while, there was a series of clanking sounds coming from the kitchen. Sue-E pinched Steele's face in annoyance. Vivian is still a child. Why are you making fun of her? Steele smiled. All right, let's not talk about Vivian. There is a girl who is even more beautiful than me by your side. More beautiful than you? Sue-E looked at Steele in confusion. Steele, you're speaking nonsense. How could there be a girl who is more beautiful than you? You don't believe me? Steele stood up and looked around before suddenly saying, Agnes, come out. I know you're here. Don't hide. We'll be eating soon anyway. The space in the corner of the room suddenly distorted and a figure appeared. It was the elven girl Agnes. Young Miss Steele, why did you call me out? Agnes asked Steele. Steele walked over and took off the hood covering Agnes' face. She tapped her delicate face and said to Sue-E, How about it? Agnes is more beautiful than me. Admit it. Agnes looked at Steele in surprise. Young Miss Steele, you were talking about me just now? Sorry, I don't understand your human sense of beauty. So, I don't understand why you say I'm more beautiful than you. But from the point of view of us elves, young Miss Steele, whether it is your appearance or your figure, it fits our elven sense of beauty. From what I can see, you could be considered a work of art. Seeing Agnes' sincere eyes, Steele's face turned a bit red, and she felt a bit embarrassed. No, Agnes, you are the one who is truly beautiful. Although I have confidence, I still can't compare to you. There isn't much difference between us elves in terms of appearance, so I'm not outstanding among the elves. But young Miss Steele, you're the most outstanding human I've ever seen. Using beautiful to describe you isn't enough. You have to be described as beautiful. How could I be as good as you say? Stop. Sue, he couldn't help raising his hand to stop the two of them from talking. I say, you two are praising each other. All right, you two are both beautiful. There's no need to be modest. Of course. Steele gave a confident snort. She turned to look at Agnes and suddenly clapped her hands. That's right. Speaking of this, Agnes, I was looking for you for something. Looking for me? Agnes pointed at herself in surprise. He also looked at Steele with a confused look. What could she be looking for Agnes for? Come, sit down and talk. Steele pulled Agnes to sit down at the table and thought for a bit before saying, when I went to Karma City this time, I met Karma City's Master Cassidon at a banquet. He asked me which master made the magic lamp advertisement for our new flyer last time. Because Sue, he told me that you weren't willing to reveal yourself to humans. I said that you weren't willing to reveal your name. However, Master Cassidon said that he liked that painting very much and seemed to have learned some art from it. But just one painting isn't enough, so he wanted me to tell you if you could draw another one for him to admire. He is willing to pay a high price for it. How about it? Agnes, what do you think? Agnes turned to look at Sue with a confused look. I don't understand these things. Chairman Sue, what do you think? He said a high price? How high? Sue asked Steele. Steele reached out a finger, 1,000 gold coins for one. Sue, he couldn't help being shocked. That high? Our company has Master Anlios draw an advertisement for you for only 50 to 100 gold coins, and Agnes can sell one for 1,000 gold coins? This is too much of a difference. Master Cassidon also said that using gold coins to measure Agnes' painting skills is an insult to art, but he couldn't think of a good way to move Agnes, so he could only use this method. He also said that he wanted me to apologize to Agnes for him. Steele then said, Sue, he couldn't help smiling as he said to Agnes, Agnes, it seems like you don't need to work in our new flyer at all. You can earn a large amount of money just by selling paintings. Agnes shook her head. I don't work for Chairman Sue for gold coins. And I know. Sue, he nodded. The reason why Elder Lucia agreed to let you work for our company was mainly because she wanted to use you as a breakthrough point to let the elves and humans come into contact. She wanted the elves and humans to coexist peacefully and live together on the continent. Since it's like this, Agnes, are you prepared? Prepared for what? Agnes asked in surprise. Prepared to interact with humans. Sue, he said, Elder Alicia hopes that you can interact with humans more to see how humans treat elves. But Agnes, you've already left the Night Song tribe and have been by my side for 2 months, but you've always been by my side like before, not interacting with humans at all. This is a bit disappointing for Elder Alicia. Agnes lowered her head and said in a soft voice, I'm a bit scared. Scared of what? Scared that the humans will eat you? Sue, he reached out his hand and held Agnes' head. He raised her head and had her look at him. Come look at me. I am a human. Do you think I'm scary? I'm not. Agnes honestly replied. Sue, he had her look at Steele again. Look at Steele. She's also a human. Is she scary? Steele immediately revealed a very kind smile. I'm not scary. Agnes replied again. Sue, he let go of his hands and pointed at Vivian, who finally came out of the kitchen. Then look at Vivian. She is also a human. Is she scary? Agnes shook her head. I'm not scary. Then that's right. Sue, he spread his hands and said, Look, me, Steele, and Vivian are all humans, but you don't think we're scary. Moreover, you've been by my side during this time, so you should have seen me interact with all kinds of humans. Do you think they're scary? Agnes hesitated this time and thought for a bit before replying. You, young Miss Steele, and Vivian all know of my existence and are very familiar with me. You've even gone to our tribe and helped us, so to me, you could be considered my friends. But the other humans don't know about me, and I'm not familiar with them, so I don't know what they will do to me. The Elder has told us, since we were young, that humans are a very complicated race. Us elves have been tricked by humans countless times, so we can't easily trust humans. He couldn't help rolling his eyes. After all this time, the root of the problem is Elder Alicia. She wants the elves to coexist peacefully with us humans, but she instilled this kind of thought in you since you were young. Could it be that she doesn't know this will hinder her grand ideals? The elder is thinking of our tribe. She isn't wrong. Agnes immediately refuted. All right, I know. I agree that Elder Alicia is thinking of the elves as a whole, so she isn't wrong. But Agnes, since you trust Elder Alicia this much, then if she wants you to interact with other humans, you have to go out and meet people. Why are you so against it? He then asked. Agnes was a bit speechless. All right, since Elder Alicia has entrusted you to me, then just follow my arrangements. He looked into Agnes' eyes and seriously asked, how about it? Agnes, do you trust me? Agnes looked into Su Yi's eyes and slowly nodded. I trust you. That's good. There wasn't a chance before and you weren't prepared, so I didn't force you to interact with other humans. But since there is such a good chance now, Agnes, you should prepare your heart. I will find a suitable time for you to be recognized by other humans. Agnes replied as her eyes gradually turned from confusion to determination. Chapter 162. Since the new Flyers product announcement, the companies in Banna City and the surrounding cities all followed this model. Each time they had a new product or an important product to sell, they would hold a product announcement to announce it. For example, just last week, Banna City's Serene Chamber of Commerce held a product announcement for a series of accessories that they were about to sell. They even went a step further and booked Banna City's City Hall to hold a large-scale exhibition, attracting countless rich and poor people from Banna City and the surrounding cities to come and see it. But no matter how grand the product announcements of the other companies were, in terms of attracting attention, they couldn't compare to the new Flyers' second product announcement. At the first new Flyers product announcement, he had announced his relationship with the Banta goddess Steel. Then at the second product announcement, other than the new product, what kind of shocking news would the new Flyer announce? With this in mind, there were still 2 hours before the Frestek Chamber of Commerce's second product announcement, but the Banna City Square for the product announcement was already filled with people. There were even reporters from Banna City, Sultan City, and Karma City hidden among them. There were even quite a few people from Canberra City and Norton City who came after hearing the news, so it could be seen just how eye-catching this product announcement was. In the crowd, the Karma Times vice editor-in-chief Ryan and his 2 assistants were 5 hours ahead of time. They came to the square before the sun even rose, just to grab a seat that was closer to the main stage. When he came here, he found that there were people who were even earlier than him. There was no need to mention it. These people were clearly his peers, the reporters from the various newspapers. As reporters with sharp senses, they had more contacts than normal people, so naturally these people were better at communicating with others. So after waiting here for a few hours, the group of reporters became more familiar with each other. Seeing that there were more and more people around, the topic of discussion was naturally focused on the upcoming product launch. Don't you feel that the new Flyers product announcement is a bit strange? The one speaking was a reporter from Sultan City, but he didn't come from the Sultan Morning News. Rather, he came from a new newspaper in Sultan City called the Sultan News. How is it strange? The one who spoke was a reporter from a local newspaper in Banna City. Of course, it wasn't the Banna Times. With the Banna Times, good relationship with the new Flyer, they didn't need to wait here like him. This reporter came from the Morning News. It said that the boss behind them was the Serang Chamber of Commerce, so they often reported on the news of luxuries among nobles. Because the Morning News specialized in this aspect, this newspaper had become the guide of the rich madams and young misses of the surrounding cities. Their sales weren't low. Because according to what I know, the new Flyers chairman, Su Yi, has always been low-key. For example, he only arranged for the product announcement to be held at the new Flyers Service Center, but this time, not only did he book a large area of Banna City Square, he also sent out invitations to everyone through the newspapers, creating such a large scene. The reporter from the Sultan News mysteriously said, I'm guessing that there might be news that will shock us later." The other reporters looked at each other and could see the looks of agreement in each other's eyes. But out of caution, no one agreed. Actually, even if there isn't any other news, just the new flyer's new product announcement is enough to attract people's attention, right? Ryan thought about it before saying, "Do you know how many automatic magic rice cookers were sold at the last product announcement?" The group looked at him in surprise. "Do you know the exact number?" "I've only heard that it was over 50,000. If this is true, then the new flyer has earned quite a bit." Another reporter said with a sigh, "I found someone to estimate the cost of this automatic magic rice cooker, and the cost should be around 1 gold coin. The Frestech Chamber of Commerce is selling it for 3.5 gold coins, so they can earn over 2 gold coins just from one unit. If they sold 50,000 units, just this new flyer would earn over 100,000 gold coins. This is too terrifying." 50,000 units? Ryan snorted. Ryan gave a snort. "You're looking down on the new flyer too much. Let me tell you, it's this number." Ryan reached out a hand and flipped it over. The surrounding people were all shocked. 100,000 units? That's impossible. There are less than 200,000 people in and out of Banna City. Could it be that everyone has one? That isn't the case. After all, other than Banna City, there are many people in our Southan City who bought them. Our Karma City is no exception. Our Canberra City also has many. Our Norton City also." After everyone finished talking, they were surprised to find that according to everyone's information, the new flyer's automatic magic rice cooker had been sold to all these cities, so it wasn't impossible for them to sell over 100,000 units. "What? Do you believe me?" Ryan chuckled. Ryan gave a laugh. "Let me tell you, when young Miss Steele came to our Karma City a few days ago, I asked her in private. She told me that the automatic magic rice cooker wasn't selling well among the products of the new flyer because the automatic magic rice cooker is used for steaming rice. The main grain of the Lampari Kingdom is wheat, and there isn't much rice, so the sales weren't as good as expected." Chairman Su was very disappointed with this. He's still disappointed? Everyone was stunned again. Just a small automatic magic rice cooker earned over 100,000 gold coins. How could he not be satisfied? Their new flyer isn't a top company like the Chimera Chamber of Commerce. They can earn several million gold coins at once. Can you deny the possibility of New Flyer becoming a first-class company on the continent? Ryan asked back. Everyone fell silent. Although logic told everyone that New Flyer was only a small company in a small city in the Lampari Kingdom. Even if they could develop, with the limited power of the Lampari Kingdom, it was impossible for them to become a large company like the Chimera Chamber of Commerce that had the support of the Kamla Empire's royal family. But these people were very clear on the history of New Flyer since it was established last year. They knew that this company had developed very quickly, even surpassing the understanding of many people. Then it wasn't impossible for them to break everyone's understanding and develop to that step. I feel that New Flyer should be more practical and become a first-class company in the Lampari Kingdom first. A reporter from Norton City calmly said, "Right now, it isn't just Banna City. There are many companies researching magic machines in many cities of the kingdom. New Flyer can rely on others to gain an advantage and earn large amounts of money, but I don't think these magic machines are that complicated. As long as others have enough time, there will be many companies that will develop magic machines that are more powerful than New Flyer. When that time comes, it's hard to say if New Flyer can survive in the Lampari Kingdom." The others fell silent again. As reporters of the various newspapers, they were more familiar with the changes in the various cities compared to normal people. The reporter from Norton City was right. There were many companies researching magic machines in the Lampari Kingdom, so it wouldn't be strange for one or several companies to surpass New Flyer. "No, you're looking down on New Flyer's magic machines too much," Ryan said with a faint smile. "Perhaps you think that New Flyer's magic machines seem very simple, not hard to imitate, and even surpass. But according to what I know, New Flyer's magic machines only seem simple, but they aren't simple at all. There are many companies that have tried to imitate them, but the quality of the magic machines they produce are far from the same." Ryan pointed at a reporter from the Southampton Morning News. "For example, There was a company in Saltan City that tried to imitate the Magic Fan last year, but because the quality of the Magic Fan was too low, there were several accidents that even caused people to die, causing this company to fall into a difficult situation. Everyone looked at the reporter from the Saltan Morning News, and he revealed an awkward smile as he nodded. Right? There was something like this. Other than that, there was the automatic magic rice cooker that was announced at the product announcement last time. It said that because there were products that were similar to New Flyer's magic rice cooker in other cities, New Flyer took this chance to release a new product. Then have you seen any other brands of magic rice cookers? Ryan asked. Everyone shook their heads. So that means that New Flyer has more trump cards than we imagined. Not to mention that their magic machines aren't easy to imitate. Even if they can be imitated, New Flyer can take out a few new tricks and defeat any challengers. Ryan continued, so I believe that New Flyer will definitely become a first-class company in the Lampari Kingdom. As for whether it will become a first-class company in the signs, let's wait and see. Everyone was silent for a bit before a reporter couldn't help teasing Ryan. Why do I feel that you have more confidence in New Flyer than anyone else? Could it be that Chairman Sue gave you money? Ryan laughed. The reason is very simple. It's because I support Goddess Steel. Che. Everyone wanted to tease Ryan, but they found that the crowd was noisy. They instantly woke up and looked at the city center behind the square. There was a group of people walking out of the city center. Unexpectedly for everyone, other than New Flyer's Chairman Sue E., there was also Banta City's city, Lord Sean Samo Count. Everyone couldn't help being surprised. This was New Flyer's product announcement. Why did Banta City's Lord City Lord come? Even if they heard that the Lord City Lord had a good relationship with Sue E., it wasn't appropriate for him to appear here, right? Everyone's eyes moved away from Sue E. and Samo Count, naturally falling onto the person following behind Sue E. Different from the others, this person was covered in an ash-green cloak that completely covered their face. They couldn't see what they looked like at all. They couldn't even see their body shape, so they couldn't tell if they were a man or a woman. In this kind of situation, why would there be such a person hiding their face? All the reporters, including Ryan, instantly sharpened their eyes and focused their gazes on the person who had covered his face. Their intuition told them that for today's product announcement, perhaps this person was the real main character. Chapter 163. At 9 o'clock in the morning, New Flyer's second product announcement officially began. In the beginning, the process wasn't too unexpected. In front of everyone, Sue E. revealed New Flyer's newest product, the Magic Bread Maker. It should be said that the appearance of this thing was welcomed by everyone, especially the people of Banta City. New Flyer not only developed the Magic Rice Cooker before, they even upgraded the Magic Rice Cooker into the automatic Magic Rice Cooker. It could be seen how important this product was to them. But the staple food of Banta City's people was wheat flour, with bread as the main ingredient. No matter how good the automatic Magic Rice Cooker looked, it was useless to most of the people of Banta City who weren't used to eating rice. Before this, the Banta Times had even done a survey of Banta City, investigating what magic machine everyone wanted the Frestec Chamber of Commerce to develop next. In the final result, a magic machine that could automatically bake bread had taken a lead. Now that New Flyer had finally released the Magic Bread Maker, it could be said that it had satisfied the wishes of many people of Banta City. According to Su Yi's introduction, this square-shaped Magic Bread Maker that was only a bit bigger than an adult's head was very simple to use. One just needed to put the flour, water, eggs, and other ingredients that one liked into the Magic Bread Maker and press the switch. The Magic Bread Maker would automatically mix the ingredients and let it ferment for a while before baking the bread. During the entire process, the person baking the bread only needed to press the switch at a certain time. They didn't even need to stir the flour, so it saved a lot of time and effort. Compared to the troublesome process of making bread by themselves, using the Magic Bread Maker was without a doubt much easier. When Su Yi finished explaining the effects of the Magic Bread Maker, there were many Banta City citizens in the square that were cheering. They all loudly said that they would buy a Magic Bread Maker as soon as possible. Sui accepted everyone's praise with a faint smile. Then he followed the procedure of the product announcement, and in front of everyone, he demonstrated how to use the magic bread maker. After finally pressing the switch to bake, Sui stopped and turned to everyone under the stage to say in a loud voice, "Everyone, it will take around 1 to 2 hours to bake the bread. During this time, Chairman Sui, can we ask questions now?" The Saltan City reporter under the stage couldn't wait to ask this in a loud voice. Sui revealed a faint smile, but he shook his head. According to the normal procedure of the product announcement, this time should be for everyone to ask questions, but today's day is different. Using this time, the Lord's Lord and I have something to tell everyone. I ask everyone to be patient. After this announcement, I will seriously answer Sui's questions. SSS words. There were some Banta City citizens who were prepared to leave when they heard that it would take around 1 to 2 hours to bake the bread. But now that they heard Sui's words, they stopped in their tracks out of curiosity. The reporters standing in front of the stage suddenly focused, and their eyes couldn't help falling onto the mysterious person standing on the stage with his head covered. If they weren't wrong, the matter that Sui and Samyed Count announced was very likely related to this mysterious person. Sui looked at Samyed Count, asking with his eyes. Samyed Count gave a slight nod to him. So Sui gave a soft cough, and when everyone under the stage calmed down, he clapped his hands, and 2 new flyer staff members behind him came forward with a large picture frame. Sui held the picture frame and looked at everyone under the stage. Everyone looked over and found that the picture on the picture frame was the advertisement that new flyer used to advertise the magic lamp. This picture had been on the giant billboards outside the 4 gates of Banta City for 2 months. Not to mention the people of Banta City being familiar with it. Even the people of the surrounding cities weren't unfamiliar with it. And it was because of this picture that Steele's status as a goddess in everyone's hearts was strengthened. Even if she announced her relationship with Sui, this status wasn't affected at all. But why did Sui take out this picture now? Was it to show off that he had Steele as a girlfriend that everyone envied? Facing everyone's doubtful gazes, Sui pointed at the picture and said, "Everyone should recognize the person in this picture, and everyone shouldn't be unfamiliar with the magic lamp. But do you know who drew this picture?" Everyone looked at Sui in surprise. This question was indeed an important question that many people had in their hearts. When this advertisement came out, it had created a stir in Banta City and the surrounding cities. Because this painting was so well drawn, even ordinary people who didn't have much appreciation for art found it extremely attractive, let alone the masters of art in these cities. After Master Anlios denied that this picture came from him, everyone couldn't help guessing who the person who drew this picture was. Being able to draw something that all the masters considered a work of art, once this person appeared, they would definitely be wildly sought after. However, no matter how people asked around, they couldn't obtain any information about this person. There were many people who asked Sui, but they were all rejected by Sui on the grounds that the other side wasn't willing to reveal their identity. Now, that Sui suddenly showed this picture to everyone and asked this question, could it be? He was finally going to reveal this person's identity. Thinking of this, everyone looked at Sui with sparkling eyes. A reporter couldn't hold back the excitement in his heart as he directly asked, "Chairman Sui, are you prepared to tell us who this master is today?" Sui raised his hand and pressed it down. "Don't be impatient. I'll reveal the answer later. Before that, I need to mention a few things to you. First is the magic lamp." Sui pointed at the magic lamp in the picture as he continued. "There were many people who said to me that the magic lamp from our new flyer was too beautiful. It could be considered a work of art. Selling it for a single gold coin was blasphemy to it." Many people under the stage couldn't help secretly nodding. This magic lamp had created a buying frenzy in Banta City and the surrounding cities. Because the magic lamp was incomparably beautiful, there were many people who didn't treat it as a household magic machine. Rather, they treated it as a piece of art to bring home. Some families that were a bit better off even bought the 3 different types of magic lamps from New Flyer. They didn't use them and kept them as collections. Perhaps some people didn't agree that selling it for a single gold coin was blasphemy to it, but everyone agreed that this price was just too cheap. Now, I'll tell everyone that the person who drew this picture also participated in the design of the magic lamp. Sui said. Everyone under the stage fell into an uproar. It turned out that the magic lamp had such a connection with the painting. But thinking about how the magic lamp in the picture was similar to the magic lamp that was sold in the end, and how many people could see that the style was similar, with both having a beautiful artistic aura, they understood. Sui clapped his hands again, and 2 new flyer staff members came down with the picture, bringing an automatic magic rice cooker and a magic bread maker up. Sui raised one in each hand. Everyone, look, isn't the automatic magic rice cooker and the magic bread maker beautiful? Everyone was stunned as they looked up at the 2 magic machines in Sui's hands in a daze. It was currently morning, and the April sun was bright, but not dazzling. It shined down on the silver-white shell of the automatic magic rice cooker and the magic bread maker, reflecting a bright silver-white light that wasn't dazzling. Although the 2 magic machines had different shapes, looking at it, the curves were incomparably smooth and natural. The overall structure didn't seem like it was made by a craftsman at all, like these 2 magic machines should be like this. Many people felt that these 2 magic machines looked very comfortable when they first saw them. Now that Sui reminded them, they couldn't help nodding and praising them from the bottom of their hearts. Although it was a bit strange to describe these 2 lumps of iron as beautiful, other than beautiful, they couldn't think of a more suitable adjective. Ryan's heart skipped a beat as he asked in a loud voice, "Chairman Sui, you wouldn't be saying that the automatic magic rice cooker and the magic bread maker were also designed by that master, right?" Sui revealed a faint smile. "That's right and wrong. That master did participate in the design, but this design wasn't designed by her alone. It was the result of our new Flyers design department working together." Design department? Everyone was a bit confused. What does that do? The so-called design department is mainly designed for our new Flyers products. Think about it. It's also a magic bread maker, and I put this magic bread maker together with a black lump of iron. Even if there's no difference in their functions, if you had to choose, which one would you choose? Of course, we'd choose the beautiful one. Someone under the stage loudly replied. Everyone agreed with this. Sui laughed. So, this is the work of the design department. Our new flyer not only wants to give everyone a good product, we also want to make sure that it looks good. Only like this will everyone be willing to spend money to buy it, right? The reporters under the stage looked at each other before looking at Ryan. At the same time, they thought of what Ryan had just said. The Frestech Chamber of Commerce really had many trump cards that no one knew about. The other companies were still bitterly studying the magic machines, but the Frestech Chamber of Commerce had already considered the appearance of the magic machines. Just based on this, it surpassed the other companies that researched magic machines by who knew how much. Chapter 164. All right, I'll end my introduction of our new Flyers product designer here. Next, let's invite the Lord City Lord to speak. Seeing Sui leave and Samo Count come onto the stage, the curiosity and doubt in everyone's hearts became stronger. Hearing Sui's words, this master that everyone was curious about should have been hired by New Flyer, becoming a product designer for New Flyer. But what did this have to do with the Lord City Lord? What did he need to say? Samo Count met everyone's gaze and revealed a faint smile as he said in a clear voice, "Citizens of Banta City and friends from outside Banta City, hello everyone. I am Banta City's City Lord Count Sean Samo. Seeing so many people come to New Flyer's product announcement, I'm happy for Chairman Sui because New Flyer can attract this many people to come to this product announcement. This means that he will definitely be satisfied with the number of products sold, and New Flyer will be able to earn a large amount. But it's a pity that no matter how much money New Flyer earns, they won't give me a single copper coin. So I'm happy for Chairman Sui, but I'm afraid he won't appreciate it." After saying this, Samo Count even deliberately revealed a helpless expression as he gave a sigh. Everyone under the stage broke out in laughter. They thought that Samo Count was normally aloof, but they never thought that he would be this humorous. All right, let's get back to the main topic. I'll ask everyone a question first. Among all the people under the stage, other than humans, are there any friend from other races? Samo Count asked. Everyone was stunned and turned to look around, only to find that they were all humans around them. Samo Count took back his hand from his forehead and said with a sigh, "It's a pity that there aren't any. Ladies and gentlemen, thousands of years ago, in addition to us humans, there were also the elves, dwarves, beastmen, halflings, and even the dragons. There are all kinds of races living together. However, after thousands of years, looking around, there are only us humans left on the continent. Other than occasionally seeing some dwarves, it's very hard for us to see the other races. Although this means that we humans have now occupied the dominant position on this continent, I still feel that this is actually a very pitiful situation. There are many different races on the continent, but if there are only us humans left, it really does make people feel a bit lonely." Everyone under the stage couldn't help feeling a bit confused. What was wrong with the Lord City Lord today? Why did he suddenly say this in front of all these people? Although the race war had been over thousands of years, and there was no hatred between humans and other races, the other races had chosen to disappear from the human world. This couldn't be blamed on humans. Then again, what did this have to do with what Sue-Yi just now? In the crowd, Ryan's gaze quickly fell on the masked man, and his heartbeat suddenly sped up, connecting it to Sue-Yi's introduction and the Lord City Lord's emotional sigh. This masked person's true identity would shock everyone. I won't do a bunch of foreshadowing like Chairman Sue. I just want to ask everyone a question. If a race other than humans appeared in front of you, how would you treat them? After saying this, Samoyed Count unexpectedly retreated to the side. Sue-Yi once again walked to the front of the stage and swept his eyes over the crowd that was stirred up by Samoyed Count's words. He took a deep breath and loudly said, "Now, let me introduce to everyone our new Flyer Design Institute's exterior designer, Miss Agnes Altiton Vainsaclanda." After saying this, Sue-Yi turned around and reached his hand out to the masked person behind him. Under everyone's surprised, curious, and doubtful gazes, the masked person slowly walked to Sue-Yi's side. After pausing for a bit, a pair of sparkling white, slender, and delicate hands came out from under the cloak. They slowly raised up and slowly took off the hood covering her face. An incomparably delicate and beautiful face that naturally gave off a mysterious aura appeared in front of everyone. However, everyone's eyes couldn't help moving away from this beautiful face and falling onto the two sharp, slender ears on the sides of her head. Elf! A wave of gasps came from under the stage. Ever since the several thousand years of racial wars, humans began to dominate the signs. The races other than humans had their living space squeezed by humans and gradually decreased. Among them, other than the races that had already disappeared, of the races that still existed on the Signs continent, the elves that had dominated the continent before were the rarest. In the beginning, after the racial wars, elves could be seen everywhere in the Signs, but as time passed, in the recent few hundred years, it was already very hard to see elves on the continent. If it weren't for the occasional sightings of the elves in the past few hundred years, which proved that the elves still existed on this continent, many people would have thought that the elves had silently disappeared like the halfling race. The elves were hard to see because other than the elves not trusting humans and not being willing to appear in front of humans, it was also because the elves were good at hiding. As long as they weren't willing to let you see them, it was very hard to find them. To most humans, elves only existed in legends, and they had never personally seen them. Right now, there were over 5,000 people gathered in the city square, but there wasn't a single person who had personally seen elves. Now that an elf had suddenly appeared in front of everyone, everyone was stunned. Everyone's eyes were focused on Agnes' long ears for a while, before slowly turning to look at Agnes' beautiful face. After seeing Agnes' face, everyone couldn't help letting out another gasp of surprise. Elven girls were indeed as beautiful as the legend said. This unknown elven girl looked similar to a young human girl in her 20s. Her facial features were incomparably exquisite, and her facial proportions were close to perfect. coupled with a pair of large azure eyes. It was simply impossible for people to look away when they saw her. Everyone couldn't help comparing her to steel in their hearts. They were shocked to find that although this elf girl's face didn't have any similarities to Steel's, they both gave people a stunning feeling. Moreover, it was different from Steel's sunny aura, but she had a natural and mysterious aura. Although the style was different, it was still mesmerizing. Sue. Chairman Sue. Is she real? A reporter under the stage pointed at Agnes with difficulty as he asked Sue, "What, real or fake?" Sue asked back in a confused voice. "Could it be that you're suspecting me of finding someone to pretend to be an elf to trick you?" I'm not suspecting you, only the elves have never been willing to come in contact with us humans, rarely appearing in front of humans. Now, how could they? This reporter looked at Agnes' delicate face and felt his mouth go dry. How could they reveal their true appearance in front of all these people? This was the question in everyone's mind. According to the personalities of the elves and the legends, revealing their true appearance in front of thousands of humans like this was an unimaginable matter for the elves. Sue revealed a faint smile and looked around the stage before raising his voice to say, "Friends, this world is constantly changing. Us humans are constantly changing, so it isn't strange for the elves to change as well. Young Miss Agnes is an example of the elves changing. Not only is she the designer our new flyer hired, she's also the ambassador for the elves to communicate with us humans, representing the elves' willingness to come in contact with us humans. Here, I want to ask everyone, after seeing Agnes, do you have any thoughts of harming her?" Everyone under the stage was surprised. The reporter who asked the question couldn't help saying, "Chairman Sue, what kind of question is this? Such a mysterious and beautiful elven young miss. How could we think of harming her? We can't even protect her enough." "That's right. An elf has finally appeared in front of us, and we can't even wait to like her. How could we harm her? What kind of joke is this?" "That's right. Even if we don't talk about her being an elf, just based on how beautiful she is, I want to kneel down and propose to her. How could we harm her?" "Chairman Sue, you must be confused by the sun. A person who wants to harm such a beautiful and cute elven girl must be a pervert." That's right. Asking this question is simply looking down on people." "Chairman Sue, please take back this question." Seeing the crowd's emotions under the stage, Sue turned to Agnes and said with a smile, "How about it? Agnes, are you still afraid?" Agnes was a bit at a loss as she looked at the noisy crowd under the stage. After a while, she asked Sue, "Chairman Sue, is what they're saying true?" Sue shrugged. "Most of it is true, but I can't guarantee that it isn't all true. After all, a person's heart is a complicated thing, and I can't guarantee that everyone's words and actions are the same." "Then, your meaning is that there are still some humans who want to harm me?" "Perhaps," Sue said with a faint smile. "But Agnes, we can't just look at the bad side of a problem. Even if there are people who want to harm you, there are more people who like you. Look at the 5,000 people below, and I can guarantee that there are at least 5,000 people who truly like you, so you don't need to worry that much. Use this chance to properly display yourself." Agnes gave a gentle nod. She looked over the eager faces of the people under the stage and took a deep breath. She opened her mouth and raised her voice. Hello everyone. I'm called Agnes. Just like you can see, I'm a normal elven girl from the Night Song tribe. Chapter 165. Sir Chairman, can't you think of a way? Encato, who had taken over from Hines as the manager of the New Flyers Household Magic Machine Workshop, pointed at the empty space outside the factory and said with a distressed look, "Those fellows are blocking the entrance of our factory every day. Now the materials used in our workshop have to be checked by them before they can come in, so it's delaying our production." "That's right, Chairman. Our Magic Machine Workshop is also being affected. If this continues, not to mention the orders of the Fulcao Chamber of Commerce and the Amsterdam Chamber of Commerce, it might even affect the orders of the Agriculture Department." Canby on the side also looked like he had a headache. "I really don't understand. Just what are you humans thinking? Isn't it just an elf? Is there a need for all these people to come and watch her every day? You don't understand. This is called chasing stars. Sui gave a helpless sigh. Looking at the dense crowd that had filled the empty space outside the factory, he also felt a headache coming on. Since Agnes had appeared at the product announcement, it had created a wild wave. Countless people had rushed to the new flyer just to take a look at Agnes. In the beginning, the news had only spread in Banda City, so there were only people from Banda City who came. After a few days, the newspapers in the surrounding cities published this explosive news. Not only did the nearby Sultan City and Karma City attract countless onlookers, even Canberra City and Norton City, which were further away, had a lot of people coming to watch. There were even quite a few people from Kramer City and the kingdom's capital Anvilmar City who had heard the news. Now, in the empty space outside the new flyer factory, there were over 10,000 people densely packed together. With all these people tightly surrounding the factory, naturally, it had a large effect on the normal production of the factory. This made Encanto and Camby, who were in charge of production, fill their stomachs with complaints. Sui at first thought that these fellows were just here for fun, and once the excitement passed, they would naturally scatter. Who would have thought that, after an entire week, the people outside the factory wouldn't decrease at all and would gradually increase? Seeing the fanatical looks on the faces of the people outside, Sui could only give a bitter laugh. Although he had seen the fanaticism and even the horror of groupies on Earth, when it was his turn to deal with such a thing, he still felt a headache. To these people, Agnes' attractiveness was even greater than the fans of the superstars on Earth. After all, to almost all humans, elves only existed in legends. Now that a real elf had suddenly appeared, the shock it brought was naturally incomparable. After seriously considering it for a while, Sui felt that this matter could not be allowed to continue like this. Otherwise, it would only get worse. Agnes, come out. Sui suddenly shouted into the air. The space to the left of Sui distorted and Agnes' figure appeared. Even though he had seen Agnes' appearance several times by Sui's side, when he saw Agnes' exquisite and beautiful face appear before his eyes, Encanto couldn't help but take a few more glances. His expression was filled with curiosity and admiration. Seeing his reaction, Camby couldn't help but ask, "Hey, Encanto, why do you humans have such a big reaction when you see elves? Is it because Agnes is beautiful?" Encanto's face turned slightly red after being exposed by Camby. He explained, "It's not entirely because she is beautiful. Of course, young Miss Agnes is very beautiful. Even compared to young Miss Steele, she doesn't pale in comparison. But more importantly, it's because I'm curious. Who told me to personally see elves for the first time in my life? I think most of the people outside the factory are just like me, purely curious. Then according to your words, the reason why you don't have any special reaction when you see us dwarves is because you often see us. So, you aren't curious at all?" Camby asked again. "And more or less," Encanto muttered. "Actually, when I first came here and saw all these dwarves, I was also very surprised, but I wasn't that curious. After all, although there are few dwarves, they can be seen in many places. For example, in Banta City, including Masteram, you can often see 3 or 4 dwarves. You'll get used to it after seeing it, so of course you won't be curious." "That's right," Sui replied before turning to Agnes and saying, "Look, Agnes, the reason why we humans have such a big reaction to you elves is because you are too rare. If we could see you every day, we would quickly get used to it and wouldn't be that curious, so we could treat you normally." Agnes looked at the people outside the factory and nodded. It should be like this. So come out with me now and let these fellows gradually get used to your existence." Sui pulled Agnes over and softly said a few words before walking out of the office with her. When they came out of the office, the crowd outside the factory broke out in cheers. "Look, it's Chairman Sui. Chairman Sui is coming out. Ah, look who's behind Chairman Sui. It's young Miss Agnes. God, I've finally seen young Miss Agnes again. She's still this charming. Just seeing her, I'm so happy that I want to faint. Oh, great young Miss Elf, please let me kiss your jade feet. I'm willing to be your slave for a lifetime. Scram, with your pig-like appearance, are you worthy of being a slave to the incomparably honorable young Miss Agnes?" If you want to be a slave, it should be me. Seeing Agnes appear, the crowd that had been holding back was like a bowl of cold water being poured into a pot of hot oil, exploding. The dense crowd was like a dam bursting, turning into a giant wave as they charged at Sue, E, and Agnes. They instantly broke through the crude wooden fence outside the factory and flattened all the dirt outside the factory. Sue knit his brows and raised his hand. With a wave of his hand, the magic inside him surged, and an earth wall that was half a meter tall and as thick as a person appeared less than 20 meters away from the front, blocking everyone's path. Then he waved his hand again, and two small hurricanes came out his hands, forcefully slowing down the crowd's momentum. The earth wall and the strong hurricanes made the excited crowd calm down. Starting from the crowd in front, the crowd gradually slowed down and finally stopped in front of the earth wall. Seeing the crowd calm down, Sue let out a sigh of relief. It was a good thing that he had released two hurricanes in time to slow down everyone's speed. Otherwise, in this situation, it would be too easy for people to be trampled. If a few lives were lost because of this, not only would the new flyer be cursed, even Agnes would be blamed for nothing. With Agnes' current attitude towards humans, just because of this, it might cause Elder Alicia's efforts to be wasted. Sue waved his hand again and used his magic to raise several earth walls of varying heights. Then he and Agnes stepped onto the highest earth wall. Friends, I know that you all want to see young Miss Agnes. She is here right now and has a few words to say to you. So please be quiet and listen carefully. As soon as Su Yi's voice fell, the noisy crowd instantly quieted down. Everyone's eyes gathered on Agnes beside Su Yi. Crazy fans really are terrifying. Su Yi could only secretly sigh. He gave Agnes a look and moved back a step, leaving the highest position for Agnes. Although Agnes had already appeared in front of the other humans in the new flyer under Su Yi's request, and was already used to appearing in front of humans, she was no longer as uneasy as before. But appearing in front of so many people and being stared at by so many eyes, she was still a bit nervous. Turning around to look at Su Yi and seeing Su Yi nod with a faint smile, Agnes' nervousness decreased a bit. She turned around to look at the dense crowd in front of her, and after taking a few deep breaths using the method Su Yi taught her, she raised her voice and said, "Hello. Hello, everyone. I am very grateful that everyone is willing to see me, and I'm very happy that our elven race has received the recognition and acceptance of so many humans. Before leaving the tribe and coming here, I was worried that I wouldn't be able to adapt to living among humans. But Chairman Su told me that humans are warm and welcoming, so I didn't need to worry." Looking at it now, Chairman Su wasn't wrong. Humans are not like what I thought they were before. They aren't all cunning and untrustworthy people. There are also many warm and good people like you. But us elves are a race that likes peace and quiet. You are all too warm, so I'm not used to it. Moreover, you are all outside the factory like this. It will affect the work here. As a member of the new flyer, I don't want to affect the company because of myself, so I hope that everyone can understand and not surround the factory like this in the future. All right? Everyone looked at each other in blank dismay. They never thought that Agnes would make this kind of request when she finally showed her face. "But young Miss Agnes, we just want to see you. If we aren't here, how can we see you?" a person asked in a loud voice. "That's right. We are all loyal supporters of young Miss Agnes. We just want to see you and don't have any special requests. Could be that we can't even do this. You can't say it like this, right? Didn't you hear what young Miss Agnes said? We are affecting the work of the new flyer, so we are also affecting her. Could it be that Chairman Su is causing trouble for young Miss Agnes? How could this be? Although I admire Chairman Su, how could he not treat young Miss Agnes well? No, I don't agree." Agnes never thought that her words would have the opposite effect. She couldn't help turning her head to look at Su Yi for help. Su Yi revealed a faint smile. "Agnes, you don't need to consider me and the new flyer. Just follow your true thoughts and say whatever you want." Agnes was a bit hesitant, but according to the way humans interact with each other that Chairman Su taught me, if I say my true thoughts, it might make them unhappy. That wouldn't be good, right? The smile on Su Yi's face was a bit strange. Be assured, just say it directly. I promise that it'll be fine. Do you remember how you treated me when we first met? But look, aren't we getting along very well now? Is that so? Agnes thought about it and decided to believe in Su Yi. She turned around again and met everyone's gazes. After pausing for a bit, her expression changed from a bit of nervousness to a bit of coldness, and her voice also had a bit of coldness. I'll tell you the truth, I'm not happy that you're surrounding the factory like this, because this makes me feel like a monster being surrounded by all kinds of strange gazes. I don't like this at all. If you insist on doing this, then my choice is to leave this place and return to the tribe. I will also tell the elders that you humans can't get along with us elves. From now on, us elves will never appear in front of you humans again. Chapter 166. Agnes' cold words were clearly transmitted to everyone's ears through the elven race's special magic, making them all stunned. Looking at Agnes' beautiful face from afar without any expression, everyone immediately felt that what Agnes said was true. Thinking that Agnes might disappear and the elves that had finally appeared in front of the humans would disappear, everyone felt unsettled. No, young Miss Agnes, we definitely don't have any intentions of offending you. Please don't misunderstand. That's right, we really just want to see you. We definitely aren't treating you like a monster. Really? That's right. You are such a beautiful elven girl who is like an angel. How could you be treated like a monster? That person must be blind. That's right, that's right. Young Miss Agnes, you definitely can't leave. I've finally seen the legendary elves in my life. How could you leave like this? Young Miss Agnes, I beg you to stay. No matter what request you have, we'll agree to it all. Is that all right? That's right. We'll listen to you. Whatever you say, we'll do it. Seeing the pitiful appearance of the people around her, Agnes was a bit surprised. She wanted to turn around and ask Su Yi for his opinion, but then she thought of what Su Yi had said to her. She calmed herself and continued without any expression. I left the tribe to live in the human world this time, because the Elder hopes that us elves can live in peace with you humans. I am just an experiment for the Elder, so I hope that you humans can treat me normally. I just want to see if humans can live in peace with us elves. If it continues like this experiment will fail. Good. We support you, young Miss Agnes. We'll treat you like a normal human from now on. That's right. You are a special human girl. What do you think? We'll treat you like a human. Of course, you're a beautiful human girl. All right, if you can do it, I can stay. Agnes gave a slight nod. Other than that, I need to give you a serious warning. Chairman Su is my friend. If anyone insults Chairman Su or disrespects him in front of me, I will treat it as an insult and disrespect to me. I will do my best to punish them. Please remember this. Everyone was stunned again. Then one of them shouted, "Good." Being disrespectful to Chairman Su was being disrespectful to Miss Agnes. In the future, if anyone dares to disrespect Chairman Su, I will be the first to punish them. And me too, and me. I hope you humans can keep your promise. Agnes nodded. Please leave immediately. My colleagues from New Flyer and I still have work to do. We don't want to be disturbed. After saying this, Agnes immediately used her shadow concealment technique and disappeared from everyone's sight. Everyone looked at where Agnes disappeared in a daze. After being stunned for a while, they suddenly let out cries of surprise. Wow, Miss Agnes is too cool. I love her to death. That's right, an elven girl is actually this handsome. How can we humans have this kind of girl? That's right, I really like her more and more. I've decided, I want to change the goddess in my heart from Miss Steele to Miss Agnes. You fickle fellow, you're simply a disgrace to us humans. Humph, I won't be like you. From today onwards, there will be two goddesses in my heart. You still have the face to talk about me? What is the meaning of having two goddesses in your heart? Are you unfaithful? Hey, they're the goddesses in my heart. What does that have to do with being unfaithful? I don't have any hopes of having a relationship with them. I just silently support them in my heart and like them. That's not bad. All right, I've also decided to do this. Seeing the crowd slowly disperse, and after a while, leaving behind several dozen stubborn fellows outside the factory. He couldn't help shaking his head. If he didn't gain some experience from the fanatical fans on Earth, he really wouldn't know how to deal with this kind of matter. After returning to the office, Encanto and Camby looked at him in a daze. "Chairman, this is also fine?" Encanto pointed outside with a look of disbelief. "I thought that those fellows had already gone crazy and wouldn't leave no matter what you and Miss Agnes said. I never thought that after being scolded by Miss Agnes in front of everyone, they would actually obediently leave. What does this mean?" "It doesn't mean anything. It just means that you don't understand the fanatical fans." He waved his hand. "All right, now that the people outside the factory have been taken care of, we can continue working. Encanto, have you seen the orders for the magic bread maker? Do you have confidence in finishing it in the set time?" Encanto estimated for a moment, his face showing a trace of difficulty. "Sir Chairman, isn't there too many orders for the magic bread maker? There are over 50,000 orders in a single week. Even if our workshop didn't do anything and just made the magic bread maker, it would be impossible to finish it." He gave a bitter laugh. "Not to mention you, even I never thought that the sales of the magic bread maker would be this terrifying. Now that I think about it, other than the magic bread maker being more widely used than the magic rice cooker, Agnes might have played a bigger role in advertising. An elf that hadn't appeared in front of humans in a long time had suddenly appeared at the magic bread maker's product announcement. This matter had created a stir in almost every part of the Lampari kingdom. When people were asking about this elf, they naturally learned that New Flyer was holding a product announcement. They also learned about the main character of the product announcement, the magic bread maker. It had to be said, the magic bread maker was a very useful household magic machine for most families in the Lampari kingdom who mainly ate bread. The other companies of the kingdom easily saw this business opportunity. So in less than a day after the product announcement, the Frestec Chamber of Commerce received orders for over 100,000 units. There were 50,000 orders that needed to be finished in a single week, which was a task that was impossible to complete. In the end, our company's factory is still too small, so we can't greatly increase our output. He gave a sigh and patted Encanto's shoulder as he said, "Just do your best. I'll adjust the orders. When a magic machine workshop develops the new automated production magic machines, the production efficiency will increase by several times. You won't need to worry when the time comes." He wanted Encanto to not worry, but Camby on the side revealed a worried look. "Chairman, it's easy for you to say, but the automated production magic machines are just too hard. My brothers and I have been researching it for a month, and we've made very little progress. We don't know how long it will take to finish it." "What? Have you met a bottleneck?" He asked in a strange voice. "Didn't I already teach you all the craftsmanship? Moreover, the corresponding magic array design has already been completed, so you just need to complete the design. Is this very hard?" "It isn't that hard. The problem is..." Camby scratched his disheveled hair and said in distress, "Chairman, you only gave us the craftsmanship of the automatic lathe, but we can't understand the precision, dimensions, and whatnot you've marked out." "Can't understand?" He was stunned. He thought that because the automated production magic machine he had Camby's group had a very high precision requirement, it was far from what the crude production magic machines from before could compare to. So he had written very fine numbers on the design according to the customs of Earth. But for the people of the signs, although most of the units were the same as the original world, like the length unit being the meter, there was a large difference in precision. Using length as an example, the lowest precision on signs was centimeters. There wasn't even a millimeter, not to mention a micron. But the automatic production magic machine had a very high precision requirement, easily reaching the level of 1/100th of a millimeter. This completely surpassed the scope of knowledge of the dwarf Camby. Thinking of this, He came to a realization. He had only copied the mechanical engineering knowledge he had from Earth, but he had forgotten to consider the actual situation of the signs. This was because he had been focused on how to make Agnes appear in front of the humans, so he had neglected it. "That is my problem," he honestly admitted. "I only gave you a high precision requirement, but I forgot to explain what was going on. How about this? I'll find some time to make a vernier caliper with you, and then we'll make a micrometer. With these two things, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Vernier caliper? Micrometer? Camby and Encato looked at each other, not understanding what was going on. But since they came to work at New Flyer, they had heard Sue mention words they had never heard before, so it wasn't strange. These two things are very basic, but they are also very important tools for measuring length. Our company's magic machines will have a higher precision requirement in the future, so these two tools are indispensable. You have to learn how to use them as soon as possible and have the workers learn how to use them. Sue said this before suddenly knitting his brows to think about it. He found a problem that he had always neglected. Since he founded New Flyer, he had always used his inspiration to have the research facility, Camby, and the others develop magic machines one after another. Although he could use the powerful mechanical engineering knowledge he brought from Earth to give specific design suggestions and even give detailed blueprints, he had never given a complete design standard. Perhaps these things were the basics of the basics for mechanical engineers from Earth and didn't need to be explained, but for the people of Signs, it was a completely new field. Thinking of this, Sue stroked his chin and muttered to himself, "It seems like I should write a book." Chapter 167. His thoughts of writing a book were suddenly interrupted by something. It wasn't right to call it sudden. When he learned that Viscount Leslie would be leaving Banna City, this matter, or rather this person, would definitely come, but he didn't know when he would come. At the end of April, a motorcade from Anvilmar City arrived in Banna City. The person in this motorcade was Viscount Leslie's successor, the new lord that the Stag family had sent to control Banna City, Baron Belil Stag. The New Flyer had rented a hectare of land from the Stag family, so as the chairman of the New Flyer, Sue, he had to pay him a visit as soon as possible. However, when Butler Brunei, who hadn't left with Viscount Leslie, requested a meeting with the Baron, he was told that the Baron had just arrived in Banna City and had many important people to see. He didn't have time to see Sue for now and had him wait. Sue was stunned. He knit his brows as he asked Butler Brunei, "These are the Lord Baron's original words?" Butler Brunei replied without any expressions, "Yes." Sue knit his brows even more. If Butler Brunei had relayed Baron Belil Stag's original words, it meant that this new Baron was either looking down on Sue or deliberately showing hostility towards Sue. No matter what it wasn't something that Sue wanted to see. From the perspective of the New Flyer, compared to this strange hostility, Sue hoped that this Baron was looking down on him. Looking down on him was just being arrogant and ignoring him, but it would be troublesome if there was hostility. Thinking of this, Sue asked, "Butler Brunei, did the Lord Baron mention my name and our New Flyer in front of you?" Butler Brunei looked at Sue and after pausing, he slowly nodded, "Yes. When I reported the situation of the territory, I mentioned your New Flyer, and the Lord Baron said that he knew of your existence." "What is the Baron's attitude?" Sue asked. Sue didn't think that Butler Brunei would seriously answer this question, but he never thought that after Butler Brunei thought about it, he would actually stand up straight and reveal a look of disdain as he said in a voice of disdain, "A small company that can't even be considered in Banna City. I really don't know why that fellow Leslie would place such importance on it." After saying this, Butler Brunei returned to his lifeless appearance and continued, "These are the Baron's original words." Sue looked at Butler Brunei in surprise for a while, then said solemnly, "Thank you." Butler Brunei nodded and remained silent. Leaving the manor Viscount Leslie left behind, Sue sat in the horse carriage and ordered the driver to head to the city lord's palace. As the carriage continued to move stealthily, Sue fell into deep thought. Although he didn't know why, Butler Brunei had exceeded Sue's expectations. He had clearly shown him Baron Belil Stag's true attitude, which was a great help to Sue in making the right decision. According to Butler Brunei, this Lord Baron should have learned of the existence of Sue and the New Flyer from Viscount Leslie. Based on his words, It could be inferred that Viscount Leslie might have specially told him something about the new flyer or Sue E before he came to Banner City. As for the Lord Baron's reaction, it was disdain because, in his opinion, the new flyer couldn't even be considered in Banner City, so naturally it couldn't enter the eyes of a Stag family descendant like him. Sue E didn't expect the new lord to be as open-minded as Viscount Leslie, showing appreciation and support for him and the new flyer, but he didn't want the new lord to have a special goal. For example, according to what Viscount Leslie said, the Stag family noticed the potential of the new flyer and decided to make a move against the new flyer. They sent a capable lord, and with the power of the new flyer and the Stag family, they would slowly eat away at the new flyer. Ha 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 ha. Sue E, you really are thinking too much. Count Sean Samo broke out in laughter. He pointed at Sue E and said, I say, Sue E, should I say that you think too highly of yourself or look down on yourself too much? Sue E looked at Count Samo in confusion. He didn't understand why his reaction was so strange when he came to ask for advice. What do you mean? I'm saying that you think too highly of yourself. You actually think that the Stag family would send someone to deal with you and your new flyer. You have to understand, the Stag family is one of the top families in our Lampari kingdom. Even if it is me, I can only look up to Lord Duke Stag. This kind of power is only second to the royal family. Why would they spend so much effort to deal with a small new flyer like you? Count Samo asked with a smile. Although our new flyer isn't that big right now, I think we still have a bit of value. Not only do we have a high profit margin, we also have wide prospects, so it isn't strange for the Stag family to fancy us, right? Sue E asked back in an unconvinced manner. Count Samo shook his head with a faint smile. Although you're completely right, Sue E, you have to understand reality. Even if your new flyer has wide prospects, you're only a small company with annual sales of less than 500,000 gold coins. You aren't even worth mentioning in the eyes of the Stag family, so why would they specially deal with your company? It's better to be safe than sorry. Sue, he said, you have to thank that fellow Leslie for this. If he didn't help you hide the truth from the Stag family, what you're worried about would have become reality. Count Samo gave a deep sigh. I still don't understand why he would help you this much, even thinking about this long-term matter. Viscount Leslie helped me hide the truth. Sue, he was stunned. Thinking of Viscount Leslie's advice before he left, he understood. It seemed like Viscount Leslie had never reported his appreciation of the Frestec Chamber of Commerce to the Stag family, perhaps even deliberately belittling them. This caused the Stag family to misjudge the value of the Frestec Chamber of Commerce, so they didn't attach importance to it. The 300 slaves the Stag family sent into the factory last time was proof of this. According to Viscount Leslie's orders, Sue didn't let the 300 slaves touch the core technology of the new flyer. He just had them do some simple assembly work. The 300 slaves had already left the household magic machine workshop, and the Stag family didn't send anyone else. But Sue was still a bit confused. Even if Viscount Leslie tried to hide it, our new flyer should be very famous in the kingdom, so it's impossible for the Stag family to not know about our situation. So why do they still have this kind of attitude? This is the second point I just mentioned. Sue E, you're looking down on yourself and the new flyer too much. Count Samo stopped laughing, and after pausing, he said with a serious look, although your new flyer isn't that big right now, after meeting His Majesty once, you've signed a cooperation agreement with His Majesty and the Agriculture Department. After the Agriculture Department announced this cooperation agreement to the kingdom, your new flyer is already very famous among the nobles with territory in the kingdom. Because His Majesty wants to popularize the agricultural magic machines through the Agriculture Department, it is necessary for him to cooperate with your new flyer. All the nobles with territory in the kingdom can't do without cooperating with your company. The Stag family is the nobles with the most territory in the kingdom, so they're the most important part of His Majesty's plan. They could be considered the focus of everyone's attention, so of course they can't do anything to your new flyer at this time. Sue was surprised. Then why is the new Lord Baron looking down on our company? Count Samo thought about it before replying. According to my contact with Baron Belil, Perhaps this is his personality. As for why the Stag family sent him here, that is the Stag family's matter. I can't answer you. Suki was silent for a bit before slowly nodding. All right, I understand. Many thanks for the Lord's City Lord's guidance. According to Count Samo's analysis, the Stag family should have noticed the new flyer, but they didn't know the true value of the new flyer. Perhaps to the Stag family, the new flyer was just lucky. They relied on developing some agricultural magic machines to obtain the king's appreciation, so they received a large order. In the end, the new flyer was still a very small company. According to what Baron Belil said, it was just a small company that wasn't even worth mentioning in Bana City. If the new flyer was like the Fulcao Chamber of Commerce, spreading their influence all over the Lampari Kingdom and having the Joel family behind them, there was no need to mention the importance of the Stag family. As for the new flyer, they weren't qualified. Should I be happy or disappointed? Su Yi revealed a bitter smile. Count Samo patted Su Yi's shoulder and said with a faint smile, "Don't think that much. You just need to know that I favor you and the new flyer. That fellow Leslie also favors you and the new flyer. His Majesty's attitude isn't clear, but based on Her Highness' attitude, His Majesty should also favor you and the new flyer. When the agricultural magic machines spread through the Lampari Kingdom, your new flyer will have a firm foothold in the kingdom, and anyone who wants to move against you will have to seriously consider it. With this foundation, what are you worried about?" Suki was silent for a bit before nodding with a smile. "The Lord City Lord is right. City Lord, you're right. As long as we do our job well, there's no need to think so much." Suki looked at Count Samo and seriously asked, "Lord City Lord, I thank you for supporting me and our new flyer, but why do you support us this much? You still don't understand this? It's no wonder that fellow Leslie called you an idiot in politics. He really isn't wrong at all." Count Samo said with a sigh, "It's very simple. First, from a large point of view, I want our Lampari Kingdom to become stronger, so I support His Majesty. Second, from my personal point of view, your new flyer has already hired 500 workers in your factory, and the income of these 500 workers isn't bad. This is equal to solving the living problems of 500 families, which plays a large role in maintaining the stability of Bana City. Moreover, according to your plan, the new flyer will be hiring thousands or even tens of thousands of workers in the future. If this plan is realized, every citizen of our Bana City will become rich, and it will be much easier for me as the City Lord. If I really have this achievement, do you think that my position in the kingdom won't rise?" Su Yi finally understood. If this was Earth, this would be called a political achievement. Indeed, according to his plan, with the development of the new flyer, the citizens of Bana City would be liberated from their farms, and they would be put into industrial development. When the entire Bana City was on the path of industrial development, every citizen would have a job with a decent income, and everyone's basic living standards would be easily met. For the Lampari Kingdom that wasn't that strong and many people couldn't eat their fill, this was a very dazzling political achievement. Thinking of this, Su Yi couldn't help saying to Count Samo, "Lord City Lord, it's a good thing that the Stag family isn't as optimistic about our company as you are, otherwise what I'm worried about would become a reality." Count Samo revealed a faint smile. "Your new flyer is right in front of me. Who understands it better than me? As for your worries, just put them down for me. The first thing you need to do is properly develop the new flyer. Remember, as long as you become strong, you don't need to fear anyone." Sui gave a strong nod. Chapter 168. It should be said that Samiet Count was completely right. As long as the new flyer was strong enough that everyone had to worry about it, you wouldn't need to worry about being swallowed by a large noble all day. But for the Shinfei merchants that couldn't even be ranked in a small city like Bana City, this road was without a doubt very long. Of course, one had to eat mouthful by mouthful, and the road had to be taken step by step. This wasn't something that could be rushed at all. It was a good thing that the new flyer's development was very stable and fast. Compared to when it was just established last year, the new flyer's strength had increased by countless times. The most simple comparison was to compare the numbers. When a new flyer was established last year, they sold less than 1,000 Magic fans in the first month, earning less than 2,000 gold coins in total. Because Sui had found the blacksmiths in the city to make the outer shell of the Magic fan, the cost was very high, so the net profit was only around 500 gold coins. Although this was a large amount for Sui and Heinz back then, for the current new flyer, it would take more than a month's worth of materials for the Magic Research Facility. According to Seabass' April financial report, the new flyer had quite a bit of profit right now. In terms of household magic machines, the sales of the automatic magic rice cooker and the magic lamp had been very stable. Other than the explosive sales the month they were released, the automatic magic rice cooker sold 6,748 units in April, earning a net profit of close to 13,000 gold coins. The magic lamp sold 8,421 units, earning a net profit of over 5,000 gold coins. Moreover, as the new flyer's fame gradually spread to other parts of the Lampari Kingdom, there were even merchants from cities over 400 kilometers away from Bandit City that came to place orders. Now the sales of these two magic machines were actually increasing. Other than this, the sales of the magic bread maker released in April was simply shocking. The product announcement was in the middle of April, and, according to the reports, in the remaining half a month of April, the magic bread maker had sold over 150,000 units. Other than the magic bread maker being more suitable for the people of the Lampari Kingdom who mainly ate bread, the most important thing was the explosive news of Agnes as an elf. The magic bread maker was sold for 4 gold coins each, and it cost less than 1.5 gold coins to make. So just based on the sales of the magic bread makers, the net profit was a terrifying 370,000 gold coins. Although the production capacity of the household magic machine workshop couldn't produce such a terrifying amount in a short period of time, so the net profit to be split, this kind of terrifying profit that even Sui himself was shocked. Counting it like this, just the household magic machine workshop's net profit in April was close to 400,000 gold coins. Compared to the household magic machine workshop, it was easier for the magic machine workshop to have explosive profits. For example, using the order for 30,000 agricultural magic machines that new flyer signed with the agriculture department, this order was a terrifying 1,700,000 gold coins. Putting aside the cost, the new flyer's net profit was already over 1 million gold coins. And this was just a single order. Other than the order with the agriculture department, the largest order the Magic Machine Workshop had right now was the order with the Fulcao Chamber of Commerce for 10,000 magic drills. The total amount was 780,000 gold coins, and the profit was close to 500,000 gold coins. Next was the order with the Amsterdam Chamber of Commerce for magic mixers, magic concrete vibrators, and other magic machines related to cement. The total amount was 630,000 gold coins. The profit was because New Flyer hadn't developed many magic machines yet, so it couldn't be calculated, but it was estimated to be over 300,000 gold coins. Other than these two largest customers, there were many small companies that wanted to enter the magic machine industry that wanted to buy various magic machines from New Flyer. Sui agreed to all of them and sold a total of 3,641 magic machines in April, earning a profit of close to 200,000 gold coins. Adding it all together, the Magic Machine Workshop's current profit was over 2 million gold coins. Of course, because the Magic Machine Workshop's production capacity was limited, these orders took a long time. For example, the Agriculture Department's orders could be delayed until next summer. So if it was spread out over a month, the Magic Machine Workshop's net profit couldn't compare to the Household Magic Machine Workshop. Because of this, Camby was a bit depressed. "Chairman, tell me, my brothers and I work ourselves to death every day, so why can't the money we earn compare to Heinz's side?" Camby complained to Sui. Even if the director of the Household Magic Machine Workshop was Encado, Camby was still used to treating Heinz as the representative of the Household Magic Machine Workshop. This is something that can't be helped since no one has accepted the concept of magic machines yet. Compared to the specialized magic machines that the Magic Machine Workshop makes, It's clear that the household magic machines designed for the general public are easier to accept and easier to sell. So he comforted him. Then according to what you said, those gadgets are easier to accept and normal people need them. When everyone in the signs knows about it and accepts it, wouldn't our magic machine workshop be even worse? Camby said in a dejected voice. That won't happen. Sui patted Camby's shoulder and said in a certain voice, the household magic machines and the industrial magic machines are two different aspects, so it's hard to say which is stronger or which is weaker. Right now, it's only because the general public can accept the household magic machines, so they're selling better. But when the other large companies realize how strong the magic machines are, the prospects of the industrial magic machines will be even wider. Look, the Fulcao Chamber of Commerce spent over 700,000 gold coins just to order the magic drill. When we develop the other large-scale mining magic machines, I'm certain that it wouldn't be strange for them to spend 7 million gold coins. Camby looked at Sue in surprise. 7 million gold coins? That much? I say, Chairman, you don't need to brag to comfort me, right? Sue rolled his eyes at him. Is there any meaning in me bragging to a dwarf like you? All right, believe me, this will definitely happen, but there's still something missing for now. After saying this, Sue habitually called out Agnes' name into the air. Then he found that Agnes had appeared behind him and was instantly scared. So you weren't invisible. Agnes walked without making a sound. Sue was surprised and was scared quite a bit. Agnes had an innocent look. Sir Chairman, didn't you tell me not to be invisible and to show myself to everyone more often? Sue nodded. I did say that, and you did the right thing. Only I'm used to you being invisible and suddenly appearing behind me, so I'm a bit not used to it. Hey, Agnes, you don't make a sound at all when you move. I think it wouldn't be bad if you became an assassin. Assassin? What is that? Agnes tilted her head to look at Sue with a curious look. Camby's expression on the side suddenly changed, and he cut off Sue Yi's explanation. He asked Sue, Chairman, you said you were missing something. What is it? Oh, the thing missing is very important. It's the materials. Haven't you noticed that Chairman Farsak has been coming to our place more and more recently? Camby nodded. It's because there have been problems with their production magic machines recently, so I was thinking of sending a brother over to be in charge of maintaining them. Sue waved his hand and said, This isn't a good solution. Next time Chairman Farsak comes, and if I'm not here, just tell him that our new flyer can provide him with a new batch of production magic machines. Moreover, these production magic machines are the newest ones and have stronger functions. Camby knit his brows. I'm afraid he won't agree. When we sold these production magic machines to him, we promised to repair them for free for 3 years. If we sell him a new batch, I'm afraid he won't be willing to pay that much. Who says I'm selling to him? I'm exchanging. Of course, it's not all free. Just tell him and have him make up the difference between the old and new production magic machines. It's not much. Their Farsak Chamber of Commerce will only be exchanging for 50 production magic machines. Even if it's 10 gold coins for each one, it's less than 500 gold coins, so he will definitely agree. Camby was stunned. Then wouldn't we suffer a large loss? If we sell 50 production magic machines, we can sell them for 3,000 gold coins. Now we only need him to give us 500 gold coins to exchange for all of them. This is too cheap for him. You have to look at the long term. Sue said in a serious voice. If those old production magic machines are kept in the Farsak Chamber of Commerce and problems keep occurring, it will be a large blow to the prestige of our company's products. It will make everyone think that our Frestek Chamber of Commerce's products aren't reliable. In the long run, our losses will be much greater than a few thousand gold coins. Camby was silent for a bit before slowly nodding. These words are right. Humans don't care about reputation, so they have a bad reputation among us other races. Oh, Chairman, I'm not talking about you. My meaning is that a company is the same as a person. Reputation is very important. Sue didn't know whether to laugh or cry as he shook his head before continuing. So, we shouldn't care about these temporary losses. I've already made a preliminary plan, and I'm planning to use the next period of time to recycle the products we've sold, helping the other side replace them. Canby tightly knit his brows. It's already a loss to recycle the production magic machines that aren't working. If we do this for all the products, we might lose over 100,000 gold coins this time. Seabass definitely won't agree to your idea. Relax. Although Seabass is a miser, he is a smart person. He will understand my intentions. Sue, you revealed a smile before continuing. Let's return to the question you just asked. What we're lacking now is good enough materials, so the magic machines we make aren't good enough and aren't durable enough. We're forced to recycle and replace them. If the materials we use are a bit better, or the production magic machines are a bit more durable, these products can be used for 8 to 10 years before breaking. I don't think anyone would have any objections, right? That's certain. Look, a normal shovel, if it can be used for 3 years, everyone will praise the skills of the blacksmith who made it. The magic machines we make are also made of iron, so if they can be used for 8 to 10 years before breaking, people will praise them to the heavens. Canby said in a certain voice. That's right. So the first thing we need to solve is the problem of materials. As for this, it will depend on the results of your Norma tribe's Dwarven Brothers research. After saying this, he turned back to Agnes, who had been silently listening the entire time. He waved his hand at her and said, "Let's go. Agnes, come on a business trip with me." Business trip? Agnes and Canby looked at Sue with confused gazes. "It's going on a business trip with me," Sue explained. Chief Saluka had someone bring a letter 2 days ago saying that they had a new discovery in their steel research, so I want to see if there are any breakthroughs. Other than that, I want to visit Elder Alicia in your Night Song tribe and discuss some things with her. I can't enter your Night Song tribe alone, so I need you to lead the way. Oh, Agnes understood and nodded before following behind Sue. Sue explained some work matters to Canby before carrying the bag he had already prepared and leading Agnes out of the factory. When they came out of the factory, there was a horse carriage that quickly came from the direction of Banda City, stopping not far away from the two of them. The curtain of the carriage was opened, and Butler Brunei appeared. After taking a quick look at Agnes behind Sue, Butler Brunei maintained his trademark expressionless face as he said to Sue, "Chairman Sue, the Lord Baron invites you." Chapter 169. Even if hearing Count Samo's analysis made Sue feel much more assured, it was impossible for him to not care about Viscount Leslie's successor. After all, New Flyer's main factories were in rented territory, so he had to look at the other side's face. So before seeing Baron Belil Stag, Sue, he still had a bit of awe in his heart. He thought that even if the other side looked down on New Flyer, as long as he didn't do anything against New Flyer, there wouldn't be a problem. However, this bit of awe disappeared after seeing Baron Belil for the first time. "You are Sue, Seeing Sue come in behind Butler Brunei, Baron Belil looked over Sue with a look of disdain. Seeing this Baron sitting in a chair with his legs crossed and a sloppy look on his face, looking more like a hoodlum than someone from a large noble family, Sue couldn't help slightly knitting his brows. He only replied with a simple yes. Seeing Baron Belil's posture, Sue found that his hopes for both sides to be safe were dashed. Even if this Baron Belil didn't have the Stag family support, he wasn't someone easy to deal with. As expected, after Baron Belil looked over Sue he didn't have any intention of letting Sue sit down. He slowly picked up some fruit from the table and ate it for a while before looking over at Sue looking like he had just thought of something. "Oh, that's right. I didn't call you over for anything important. I just wanted to tell you something. I could have had Butler Brunei tell you this, but I was a bit curious about you, so I called you over to take a look. Only looking at it now." Baron Belil shook his head and clicked his tongue, looking very frivolous. "There's nothing special. I really don't know why Leslie is so polite to you. Really, you're simply losing face for our Stag family." Sue was too lazy to frown anymore. He asked calmly, "Lord Baron, what is it that you want to inform me of?" Oh, I see. Now that I've taken over from Leslie, I'm managing the territory on behalf of the family. Your new flyer, used to lease a hectare of land from Leslie, right? Yes. Oh, I remember how much the rent is. Baron Belil looked at Butler Brunei. 50 gold coins a year, Lord Baron. Butler Brunei bowed respectfully. Pong! Baron Belil suddenly slammed his hand on the table and raised his voice. Only 50 gold coins? This was too little. Is our stag family's territory that worthless? Butler Brunei lowered his head in silence. Sui looked at Baron Belil and looked down on his poor acting skills. He revealed a hesitant appearance as he asked, Lord Baron, your meaning is, you don't understand what I mean? You're this stupid. How can you be the chairman? Baron Belil cut off Sui without any politeness. It's very simple. I'm in charge of this territory now, so the lease contract you signed with Leslie is invalid. I have a final say. Such a large piece of land for only 50 gold coins a year, this is too much. It's no different from giving away for free. So starting today, the rent will be increased. I called you here to sign a new contract. Butler Brunei, come, give him the new contract and have him sign it. Butler Brunei took out a contract he had already prepared for Sui. Sui didn't reach his hand out to take it. Rather, he asked Baron Belil, Lord Baron, I remember that when I signed the lease contract with Viscount Leslie last year, it clearly stated that this land was rented from the Stag family. So the other side of the contract is the Stag family. Although Viscount Leslie has already left, the contract was signed by Viscount Leslie on behalf of the Stag family. If we want to change it, the Stag family has to send a representative to discuss it with our new flyer. Lord Baron, can you represent the Stag family? If I can't, then can you? Baron Belil looked at Sui and said with a laugh, I say, you're just an insignificant small merchant, and you dare say that our Stag family will send a representative to discuss it with you. Who do you think you are? Stop wasting words. If I say change the contract, then change it. If you keep talking, do you believe that I won't immediately declare the contract invalid and take back the territory? Meeting such an unreasonable person, Sui could only helplessly shake his head and carefully look over the new contract. However, after looking over it, Sui couldn't take it anymore. He looked up at Baron Belil in surprise. 100,000 gold coins a year? Lord Baron, even if you want to increase the rent, you can't increase it like this, right? This is an increase of 2,000 times. Baron Belil coldly looked at Sui. You still don't understand what I mean? I called you here to sign the new contract. I didn't say I wanted to discuss it with you. You can either sign it or I'll declare the contract invalid and send someone to take back the territory tomorrow. Choose for yourself. Sui gave an angry smile. Seeing Baron Belil's indifferent expression, he thought, was this fellow really stupid? Or was he doing this on purpose? Based on his appearance of being in his 20s and his appearance, Sui really wanted to think that he was stupid. But he was still a direct descendant of the Stag family and Viscount Leslie's cousin. Coming from the Stag family, he had been educated since he was young, so there was no reason for him to be this stupid. But if he wasn't stupid and was doing this on purpose, Sui was very confused. What did the Stag family want to do? According to Count Samo's analysis, the Stag family should have some scruples and wouldn't do anything to the new flyer. But now Baron Belil had suddenly increased the rent from 50 gold coins to an exaggerated 100,000 gold coins. Moreover, he had an incomparably disdainful attitude towards Sui. It was clear that he didn't want Sui and the new flyer to have an easy time. But what benefits did the Stag family have in making things hard for the new flyer? Sui really couldn't figure out. Looking down at the contract in his hand that had many harsh conditions other than the 100,000 gold coins, Sui thought about it before taking a deep breath. After calming himself down, he said to Baron Belil, Sir Baron, this matter is very important. Can you give me a few days to discuss this with the other people of the company before replying to you? Discuss what? Aren't you the chairman? Could it be that you don't have the final say? Then what kind of chairman are you? Baron Belil impatiently said, The company doesn't belong to me alone, so I have to inform the others. Then again, our new flyer is a small company, and 100,000 gold coins is a large number. It is too heavy a burden for us, so we can't casually agree. I asked the Sir Baron to make an exception and give me a few days. All right? Su-yi calmly said. Baron Belil looked at Su-yi with a frown. After thinking about it, he waved his hand. All right, 100,000 gold coins is not a small number for a small company like yours, so I'll give you some time to consider it. But a few days is impossible. I'll only give you a single day. You have to give me a reply the day after tomorrow. I don't have that much free time to wait for you. Do you understand? Su-yi was silent for a bit before nodding. All right, you can leave. Next time you come, it's best if you prepare the money. Baron Belil waved his hand and chased Su-yi out like he was a fly. After leaving the manor left by Viscount Leslie, Su-yi turned back to look at this familiar but now unfamiliar manor. He shook his head with a bitter smile, and after thinking for a bit, he called out, Agnes. Agnes' figure appeared out of thin air, and she asked Su-yi with a bit of curiosity, Chairman, you had me hide ahead of time and not meet this person. Was it because you already knew that he wasn't friendly to you? I guessed it, but I never thought that I would be right. It seems like it's a bit troublesome now. Su-yi said with a bitter smile. Agnes, I'm afraid I can't leave Bandit City for now. How about this? There's nothing to do at the Design Institute for the next few days, so you could take a trip for me. This isn't good, right? Agnes said in a surprised voice. Chairman, there are many things I don't understand. I'm afraid I can't take your place. It's fine. This matter isn't hard. Listen well. Su-yi carefully explained everything to Agnes, and after making sure that Agnes understood, he handed the bag on his back to her. If possible, come back as soon as possible. I might need your feedback to make a decision. Su-yi said this before looking at the serious expression on Agnes' face. He couldn't help revealing a smile as he patted Agnes' shoulder and said, It really is a pity. I thought that I would be able to go on a beautiful trip with a beautiful subordinate, but now it's gone. Agnes naturally didn't understand the special meaning in Su-yi's words, so she said to him with a smile, As long as the chairman is willing, I can go on a business trip with you at any time. It's best if you don't, otherwise Steele will definitely kill me. Su-yi shook his head and had Agnes quickly set off. Watching Agnes' figure disappear into the air, Su-yi turned back to look at the manor's closed gates before heading into Bandit City. Half an hour later, Su-yi appeared in front of the gates of the City Lord's Manor. Seeing the familiar open doors of the City Lord's Manor, he thought of how he had come looking for Count Sean a few days ago, because Baron Belil hadn't seen him and had been reassured by his analysis. Now that he felt unsettled because Baron Belil had seen him, he came looking for Count Sean again. Su-yi couldn't help laughing at himself. Why do I feel like I'm a primary school student who ran to the teacher to complain after being bullied by his classmates? Chapter 170. Lord Baron. Su-yi has left the City Lord's Manor. Butler Brunei respectfully reported to Baron Belil. Baron Belil gave a slight nod, showing that he knew. If Su-yi saw the current Baron Belil, he would definitely be very shocked. Baron Belil was sitting upright with a calm expression, with a gentle and confident smile on his face. He didn't have the sloppy look that Su-yi had when he saw him. It was like he had become a different person. After elegantly sipping his tea, Baron Belil thought about it before saying to Butler Brunei, Counting it, he has been in the City Lord's Manor for over half an hour. It seems like his relationship with Lord Count Samo isn't bad. Butler Brunei nodded. Yes. Count Samo places great importance on the new flyer, frequently expressing his support for Su-yi and the new flyer. If it wasn't for this, the new flyer wouldn't have developed so smoothly in Bandit City. I see that the new flyer has developed so quickly. My beloved big brother, Leslie, must have played a large role in this. Baron Belil said with a faint smile. Hearing Baron Belil mention his previous master, Butler Brunei lowered his head and didn't say a thing. Baron Belil looked at him and revealed a faint smile. Butler Brunei, Big Brother Leslie kept you here because he wanted you to take care of Su-yi and the new flyer, right? Butler Brunei hesitated a bit before replying. The Lord Viscount didn't say this. He kept me here because he felt that I was more familiar with the situation here, so it would be easier for the family to take over when they send someone over. You've helped me quite a bit during this time. If it wasn't for the fact that you were Big Brother Leslie's person, I really wanted you to stay. Baron Belil praised Butler Brunei before changing the topic. But Butler Brunei, because of your attitude towards Sue E and the new flyer, I can't let you stay. If you do something wrong, then not only will you be out of luck, you will also implicate me, and even our entire family. Butler Brunei looked at Baron Belil in shock. Lord Baron, isn't this a bit too exaggerated? I'm just a lowly official. What impact can my attitude have? Although you're only a small butler, you staying here represents Big Brother Leslie's intentions. Big Brother Leslie is the eldest son of our Stag family's patriarch. He's the first in line to inherit the title of Duke, so his attitude will represent the attitude of our Stag family to a large extent. So looking at it together, your attitude in the eyes of many people is likely to be the attitude of our Stag family. Butler Brunei knit his brows. This means the Lord Baron is worried that other people will think that our Stag family values the new flyer because of my attitude towards the new flyer? That's right. Then I don't understand even more. The new flyer is a company with good prospects, and Sue E is a person with a brain. If you take him in, he should be of great help to the family. Why does the Lord Baron want to do this? Baron Belil looked at Butler Brunei. Butler Brunei had been with the Stag family since he was young and had served as a servant for close to 60 years. He was normally very cautious and didn't talk much, but today he had asked this many questions because of his attitude towards the new flyer. Not only did this mean that he had many questions in his heart, it also meant that he attached great importance to the new flyer and Sue E. If his attitude represented Leslie's attitude, then this Sue E and the new flyer should have the qualifications to be valued. If it wasn't for the family's choice, he really could rope them in. After thinking about it, Baron Belil replied, "The reason is very simple. It's because Sue E and Her Highness 70 are too close." Butler Brunei was stunned before his expression changed. After thinking for a bit, he couldn't help lowering his voice and carefully asking, "The Lord Duke, has he made his decision?" Baron Belil took a sip of his tea before looking at Butler Brunei and casually saying, "This isn't something you're qualified to ask. Just do your own thing." Butler Brunei's heart turned cold. He took a step back and lowered his head, not saying a word. Hashtag the sun was high up in the sky when he left the City Lord's manor. It was noon. Sue E looked up at the sky before heading to the research facility in the south of the city. The reason why he didn't choose to take the horse carriage was to organize his thoughts while walking. He didn't get any results from his meeting with Count Samo just now. After all, in such a short period of time, it was impossible for Count Samo to obtain more information to help Sue E make a more accurate judgment of Baron Belil's attitude. Although he was very surprised that Baron Belil proposed a rent of 100,000 gold coins a year and even thought that Baron Belil was crazy, Count Samo couldn't do much about this. In the end, the new flyer's factory was in the Stag family's territory, so it was up to the Stag family to decide what to do. Now that the Stag family had sent Baron Belil to control this territory, he had the final say in this territory. Even His Majesty couldn't question his decisions. The only thing that could change this situation was the contract they signed last year. This contract was signed with Viscount Leslie. It clearly stated that the lease would last for 3 years and the rent would be 50 gold coins a year. Now that Baron Belil had unilaterally rejected this contract and raised the rent to a shocking amount of 100,000 gold coins, this was already a serious violation of the contract. The people of Signs attached great importance to contracts. So if Sue E exposed this matter, the Stag family would be criticized by countless people and Baron Belil would be cursed by everyone. But when Count Samo asked Sue E if he wanted to announce this matter to everyone, Sue E thought about it and shook his head. The Stag family was after all one of the top families in the Lampari Kingdom. They were very powerful, and New Flyer was only a small company. If this matter was exposed, although it was very likely that the Stag family would be criticized by many people and Baron Belil would be forced to take back his unreasonable request, allowing New Flyer to continue renting this territory. New Flyer would without a doubt offend the Stag family. For the current weak Frestec Chamber of Commerce, this was no different from seeking their own death. He was not a young man in his late 20s. Of course, he wouldn't make such an unwise choice just to vent his anger. Just like Viscount Leslie's advice and Count Samo's analysis of him, the first thing he had to do was work hard to develop New Flyer. When New Flyer became strong, there were many things that could be easily solved. So after carefully considering it, Su Yi's final decision was to leave this territory and not play with him anymore. Baron Belil raising the rent of 100,000 gold coins a year was clearly trying to drive New Flyer away, because Su Yi definitely wouldn't agree to such an exaggerated amount. Although according to his estimates, New Flyer's profit this year would be over 1 million gold coins. Taking out 100,000 gold coins to rent a trivial hectare of land was completely unacceptable. Not to mention that Su Yi already felt that this hectare of land was severely restricting New Flyer's development. So he asked the king to rent this large piece of land through 70. Now that Baron Belil was trying to drive him away, Su Yi used this chance to move ahead of time. Although the time given was a bit rushed, Su Yi had already expected this day to come when Viscount Leslie told him that he was leaving. He had made a series of preparations ahead of time, so he didn't panic right away. When Su Yi went to see Count, other than telling him about Baron Belil's unreasonable request, the main reason was to inform him of his decision. Count was a bit surprised by Su Yi's decision. He proposed that he could help Su Yi negotiate with Baron Belil, trying to keep Su Yi, but Su Yi had already made his decision, so he rejected Count's help. In the end, Count was helpless and could only agree to Su Yi's decision. He proposed that he could help Su Yi and New Flyer a bit, making it easier for New Flyer to move. After discussing this with Count, Su Yi didn't waste any time and began preparing for the move. Although the research facility in the city wouldn't be affected by the move, as a member of New Flyer, he had to inform them beforehand and let them prepare themselves. While thinking about the work he needed to do, Su Yi slowly walked. After he had a general idea of the work, the quiet alley of the research facility was already in front of him. Su Yi stopped thinking and prepared to walk into the alley, but he suddenly saw a familiar figure standing on the other side of the street. Turning his head, he found that it was Remington. After looking over, Su Yi slightly knit his brows and was a bit confused. Other than Rem, there was another person Su Yi didn't recognize beside him. What made Su Yi confused was that Rem and this person weren't conversing normally. Instead, they were very close to each other, almost sticking to each other. They seemed to be conversing in an extremely soft voice, and their expressions were a bit sneaky, as if they were doing something shady. Su Yi was a bit confused. If this person was Rem's friend, then it would be normal for him to come out to meet a friend or have a meal together since it was currently the lunch break at the research facility. However, the way they were conversing was really suspicious. Looking around, Su Yi found that there was no way to secretly approach the two, so he gave up on the idea of eavesdropping on their conversation. He looked deeply at the stranger and memorized his appearance in his mind before walking towards the research facility. Chapter 171. The New Flyers factory in Banna City had 2 large workshops that took over 3,000 square meters and 2 small workshops that took over 1,000 square meters. Adding in the office and the warehouse, the total area was over 5,000 square meters. Counting it all, they had already used over half of the 1 hectare rented, so there wasn't enough space left for the New Flyer to develop. So even if everyone in the company was shocked when Su Yi proposed moving, the leaders of the company agreed to this decision after Su Yi's analysis. Of course, they couldn't avoid a few complaints. For example, when Camby heard Baron Belil's request, he spat out in disdain, "Hey, humans really don't care about honesty." The human leaders of the company led by Su Yi could only swallow their spit and had nothing to say. Moving an entire factory was a large and complicated project, especially since the new Flyer's factory had all kinds of production magic machines. Any one of them weighed several hundred kilograms or even a ton, so it wasn't an easy matter to move them. It was a good thing that the new Flyer's factory had several hundred dwarves. With the dwarves' strength and physique that surpassed normal humans, they could really move these large fellows that could only be moved by heavy machinery on Earth into the horse carriages. Otherwise, if they relied on manpower, it would take a lot of effort just to move these production magic machines. For this move, not only did the new Flyer mobilize all their employees, they also hired all the free labor in Bana City. This was far from enough. Count Samo had even sent out 500 Bana City guards to help with this move. Seeing the dwarves and large human men with bare arms, sweating as they moved these large fellows onto the large horse carriages, Su-Yi couldn't help feeling a bit of regret. If he could have developed the magic crane ahead of time, perhaps it wouldn't have been this troublesome. Of course, no one would have thought that Baron Belil's request would come this suddenly. Even if Su-Yi had prepared his heart ahead of time, it was impossible for him to prepare everything. For now, he could only try his best to remind the people in charge of the relocation to pay attention to the various things that needed to be paid attention to when moving large machinery and equipment, and try to minimize the losses as much as possible. Su-Yi shook his head. Not only will these magic machines be damaged from moving them around, just the fact that your new Flyer has stopped production for a few days is already a large loss. The Amsterdam Chamber of Commerce's chairman Mun Cruz, who had heard the news, saw this lively scene and gave a sigh. He said in a regretful voice, "I wanted to rush you and have you finish the order for our company's magic concrete mixers, but now it seems like it'll be a bit late." Su-Yi shrugged and said, "I can't help it. I can't predict it either." President Cruz looked at Su-Yi and suddenly lowered his voice as he mysteriously said, "Hey, Chairman Su, I heard that your new Flyer's sudden decision to relocate was forced out by that newcomer, Baron Belil." Su-Yi looked at him and calmly said, "President Cruz, you can't speak nonsense. This is a decision our new Flyer made for our future development. It isn't related to Baron Belil at all." Seeing Su-Yi's expressionless appearance, President Cruz laughed and didn't ask anything else. Actually, anyone who knew a bit about this matter in Bana City was clear on this matter. But since Su-Yi and the new Flyer chose to remain silent, others wouldn't take the risk of offending Baron Belil or even the Stag family. If it wasn't for the Amsterdam Chamber of Commerce and the new Flyer being close and Chairman Cruz having a good relationship with Su-Yi, he wouldn't have asked this question at all. "Right, Chairman Su, I haven't asked you yet. Where are you prepared to move to?" After a bit of silence, Chairman Cruz couldn't help asking this. "According to my original plan, of course I wanted to move to the Falling Rain Valley. Once and for all, I wouldn't need to worry about land for the factory. But Chairman Cruz, isn't the road to the Falling Rain Valley only half finished?" So he asked back. Chairman Cruz glared at him. "What? You think we're too slow? This is already the fastest speed I've personally supervised. It's impossible to go any faster. You have such high requirements for quality, so if I increase the speed and can't guarantee the quality, it would be strange if you didn't cause trouble for me." Su-Yi waved his hand with a smile. No. You're mistaken. I don't think it's slow. On the contrary, it's only been a month, and we've already finished half of the road. In fact, it's very fast, so fast that I'm a bit worried about the quality of the road. Of course, I have full trust in Chairman Cruz and the Amsterdam Chamber of Commerce. I believe that you won't make any mistakes in the quality of the road. The reason why I asked this question is because even if I want to move all these big guys to the Falling Rain Valley, I don't have any way to do it. Do you think those broken dirt roads that don't even have stone pads can safely transport these big guys in? Chairman Cruz shook his head without hesitation. Definitely not. It's spring now, the time of year when it rains the most. Those broken dirt roads are now covered in mud. If these big guys were to press on them, the carriage wheels would definitely sink in and wouldn't be able to move. That's right. So even though we're moving, we won't be moving far away. We'll be moving to Santon Manor, which is a bit further away from here. Su-Yi said. Santon Manor? Chairman Cruz thought about it before looking at Su-Yi in surprise. If I remember correctly, you bought this Santon Manor 3 months ago, right? Could it be that you expected this situation 3 months ago. It would be bragging if I said that I expected this situation, but it's not wrong to prepare a bit ahead of time. Su-yi replied with a smile. There's already a temporary factory built in this manner. Although the environment is a bit simple, it's not a problem to maintain normal production. So Chairman Cruz, you don't need to worry too much. Your magic concrete mixers won't be delayed. Don't forget, the Sandy River renovation project and the Falling Rain Valley Road construction project both need the help of these magic concrete mixers. And these two projects are very important to me. Chairman Cruz looked at Su-yi like it was his first time seeing him. Santon Manor was Viscount Sandon's private manor. Because Viscount Sandon's family had financial problems, Viscount Santon had put this manor up for sale 3 months ago. In the end, it was bought by Su-yi for a high price of 370,000 gold coins. The people of Bana City thought that Su-yi must have gone crazy. Although the Santon Manor was backed by a river and had a quiet environment, it was quite good to buy a manor for leisure. However, it was over 15 kilometers away from Bana City, so it was a bit remote. Moreover, the manor was less than 2 hectares. Even if the interior was well built by Viscount Santon, it was impossible for it to be worth 370,000 gold coins. According to the valuation of the nobles of Bana City, this manor should be worth around 250,000 gold coins. But when this manor was being publicly auctioned, Su-yi had suddenly charged out and participated in the auction. Perhaps it was because they were dissatisfied that a normal merchant like Su-yi wanted to buy this manor, but there were several nobles who competed with Su-yi. The price kept rising, and finally it reached a shocking 370,000 gold coins. 3 months ago, the people of Banta City valued the new flyer at 500,000 gold coins, but Su-yi had taken out 370,000 gold coins to buy a trivial manor. Naturally, everyone thought that Su-yi must have gone crazy. Even if the Frestec Chamber of Commerce's products always sold well, and they had a high profit margin, making the Frestec Chamber of Commerce have more liquid funds than normal companies. Taking out 370,000 gold coins at once was equal to emptying the Frestec Chamber of Commerce's treasury. To the other merchants and chambers of commerce, such an approach was the height of stupidity. Even if many people thought that Su-yi wanted to buy a piece of land for the new flyer, this price was still a bit high and wasn't a wise choice. However, Su-yi insisted on doing this. Chairman Cruz was very confused by this and tried to persuade Su-yi, but Su-yi had already made up his mind and didn't listen to him at all, forcefully buying this manor. Today, 3 months later, when a new flyer was faced with the problem of having to move, Chairman Cruz suddenly realized that Su-yi's decision to buy this manor was a wise and far-sighted decision. Actually, if it was just buying the manor itself, this manor that was only 2 hectares could only be valued at 100,000 gold coins or even less. But because Viscount Sandon's family was lacking funds, when he sold the manor, it was rare to see the land being sold as well. Because the Lampuri Kingdom had never given land since it was founded, any piece of land belonging to a noble was very precious and wouldn't be easily taken out for sale. If Viscount Santon didn't have any other choice, he wouldn't have made this decision. Adding the fact that the land was being sold, this made the manor's value jump from 100,000 gold coins to around 250,000 gold coins. It was because of this that Su-yi met such a large obstacle when bidding for this manor, spending over 100,000 more than the estimated price to buy it. Of course, looking at it now, this auction was very profitable for the new flyer. Having their own land, not only did it have a strong symbolic meaning, it also meant that the new flyer could get rid of the restrictions of the Stag family's land. At the very least, they wouldn't be forced to move just because of a few words from Baron Belil. Thinking of this, Chairman Cruz couldn't help revealing a trace of admiration as he looked at Su-yi. With a chairman who had such foresight and was willing to make decisions on key issues, the new flyer would definitely develop more smoothly than anyone could imagine. For the Amsterdam Chamber of Commerce, being able to have a partner like this was a very fortunate thing. Chairman Cruz rolled his eyes and said with a faint smile, "Chairman Su, you can be assured. Not only do you attach importance to the Sandy River Project and the Falling Rain Valley Road Project, I also attach importance to them. If our Amsterdam Chamber of Commerce can smoothly complete these two projects, it means that our Amsterdam Chamber of Commerce has two projects that other companies don't have the ability to complete. Just based on this, I should thank Chairman Sue from the bottom of my heart. If it wasn't for your selfless help, our Amsterdam Chamber of Commerce would have had this kind of opportunity and advantage. Chairman Cruz is too polite. This is also because your Amsterdam Chamber of Commerce worked hard enough to grasp this opportunity. Sue said. Chairman Cruz laughed and was about to say a few more polite words to Sue to pull their relationship closer, when he suddenly saw several horse carriages slowly approaching. The horse carriage in the middle had the City Lord's Manor's symbol, and the horse carriage behind had the Stag family symbol. Chairman Cruz immediately closed his mouth and pointed in the direction of the horse carriages to Sue. Sue turned to look and revealed a faint smile. Sir City Lord also invited Baron Belil over. Is he planning on having him laugh at my current sorry state? You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.